WIFTV
That's why we
PM.
shine wherever we go. We shine wherever we go. We shine wherever we go. We shine wherever we go. Lord, Lord. Welcome to the mind of a pothead. On my head, see a young nigga got dressed. We don't give a fuck what the cop said. I'm living a legacy. So even when I die, I am not dead. Nigga, I am not dead. Fuck with me.
Great afternoon to you wonderful people. Welcome to this Thursday edition of I Said What I Said. We are live from the What's In It for the Black People Media Studios alongside Toussaint Warner. My name is Herb Howard. Thank y'all so very, very much for choosing to be a part of this conversation. We greatly appreciate you all hanging out with us each and every weekday, 3 to 6 p.m. We get together right here and we discuss issues that are impacting the black community, how those issues impact us as individuals, and also how they impact us as a collective. And along with your help, we talk through many of those issues in hopes of finding the best solutions for how we can overcome those issues. Again, overcome them as individuals, but perhaps more importantly, overcome them as a collective. So again, thank y'all so much for choosing to be a part of this very important conversation. We think it is the blackest conversation in America. Anything you want to add to that conversation, feel free to do so. We will read through as many of your comments as possible while we go through the show. We would kindly ask you, please take a quick second to share the broadcast, share it on your personal page, share it even within your personal network with anyone that you think would add value to or find value in this particular conversation. We think the more like-minded people we can get to be a part of it, better the opportunities we have of finding those aforementioned optimum solutions. So please take a quick second and share the broadcast. Again, this is I Said What I Said. It is intellectual thuggery at its absolute finest. My name is Herb. His name is Two. What's happening, good brother?
I'm good, money family. How you?
Man, ain't nothing to it, man. Just cooling. We got a jam-packed show today, and we on a tight schedule. Shortly, we're going to be speaking to Sister Fanita Griffin, who's going to be joining us regularly throughout the month of February to bring us some black history as only she can. At 4 o'clock, we are going to be joined by the good brother Brian Gorman, who is going to be talking about the launch of his new magazine, The Blueprint for Black Liberation. He's going to be hanging out with us at 4 o'clock. And then in the 5 o'clock hour, we will be speaking with Uncle Walt. And so a lot of things we got to get into today, man, but I can't let this thing go. It's been bugging me since I heard it this morning, okay? First of all, I got caught up in one of these goofy TikTok things this morning, right? I didn't even know it. My phone rings. It's my sister-in-law. It's my brother's wife, right? I pick up the phone. She say, I'm busy right now. I got to call you back. So I'm like, what? Like, you just called me. Like, what are you talking about? Whole time she's just recording this thing so she can make a TikTok of me responding to her calling me. And as soon as I pick up, she say, oh, because it's a FaceTime thing. As soon as I pick up, she say, I'm busy. I got to call you back. And I'm like, what? Like, anyway, so I got caught with that, right? So then she hit me back, and she she tells me this thing that's kind of blown my mind ever since I heard it. And it is that, did you know, you probably never even seen the movie. I don't even know what I'm finna ask you because you finna get on my nerve right at the top of this show. I'm not like you finna take me there right off bat because I'm already knowing how you finna come with this thing. But I'm gonna ask you anyway. Did you know that it is likely, in my personal opinion, it is likely that Simba and Nala are siblings?
Simba's the Lion King.
Simba from the that's 2 points for you. We on our way, baby.
I got children.
We on our way. So what? That's never meant anything to you before about these crazy
it's always
things.
been something.
Not that part. So Simba, Mufasa's son, and Nala, Simba's love interest in the Lion King, likely siblings.
How?
First of all, in the movie, right? There's never any mention of who Nala's parents are, right? They don't mention her mother's name, and she doesn't even have a father, right? That's just not in the movie. But two, and the most telling evidence for me, is just the fact of knowing how lion prides work. There is one alpha male in the lion pride who mates with the adult females in that pride. All of the offspring are that of that alpha male. When he takes over that pride, he runs off whoever the alpha male used to be and kills all of the cubs that aren't his, right? We both know this to be true about lion pride.
Okay.
If Nala wasn't his, he would have killed her.
He didn't kill Scar,
That's his brother.
but he didn't kill him.
But he
was
did
another
kick
male.
his ass out. You can't stay here.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's only one alpha male here. You can't be
But
here.
remember,
These are all my women. These
Simba
are all my
left the-
kids.
Simba
You
left-
are an outcast.
Simba left the pride for a long time.
That's because he was a soft shorty.
Either way, the woman
After his daddy died.
Nala might have came in then.
No, they was friends. They was best friends when they was shorties. That's what you see. I told you ain't seen the movie.
I saw it. I just didn't care.
They was they was best friends when they was shorties. You know what I'm saying? They was in the same pride. They was
okay.
best friends when they was shorties running around.
Wow, that's deep.
You get on my nerve. You get on my nerve. You get on my nerve. So this is what's been happening all day long. So after my sister-in-law called me with it, and she tell me that her childhood has just been ruined by her friend who told her this. Now I've just been ruining people's childhood all day because I've just been telling everybody I talk to. You know, Simba and Nala is siblings, and the people who's like really heavy into that are like sad and kind of a few of them want to fight. That I can't believe you just did that. You just ruined that. I can't. Why would you tell me that? And I'm like, because like I think you should know. It's kind of crazy.
Good story.
All right, we'll leave it at that, man. But yeah, very likely.
Yeah, that's wild.
Very likely that Simba and Nala are siblings. Yeah, I knew that would blow your top.
That's it.
I knew that would blow your top too. Somebody's interested in that, even if it ain't your square self.
Blown.
You get on my nerve. Y'all blown by that, right? Y'all blown by that. I know y'all are. Or messing up classics. Y'all, listen, it's a big deal to people who have like, I don't know, a soul or like a spirit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Anybody but a hollow man over here understands what's happening, right? Jesus
Let's stay hard.
Christ, man.
Let's stay hard.
I'm just saying, listen, there are different ways of relating in nature. I try to tell y'all that every Friday. Y'all don't listen.
They was living the party life. You know what I mean?
Mufasa for sure. Now Simba and Nala, that's a whole different situation that I'm not vouching for, but I'm just saying, different strokes. Simba and Nala, siblings. Who would have thunk it? Anyway, let's hop into the show. Told you guys we have a very, very special guest that's going to be joining us, and I do believe that she is on the line right now. I just messed up this whole thing. Give me one quick second, and we can get this thing right. Bop, 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 bop. There we go. You want to introduce our guest too?
Shout out to Vanita Griffin, the homie. Vanita does a lot of stuff in the city, but most importantly, in regards to today, she was doing a series online where she was talking about Black history from the standpoint of public policy. Mm-hmm. And I think that in regards to how we kind of deal and communicate around history, we go with the surface stuff. Right? You know, we often have those conversations about how King has been whitewashed and how understanding the King is only through the lens of white media.
Yes, sir.
And we really don't have very much understanding of how policy affects Black life.
Very true.
And I found, you know, the campaign that she was doing to be very interesting because it digs into policy. And I thought it would just be dope to bring it to the air for her just to, you know, talk around some of those issues that she's already been publicizing on you know, Facebook and Instagram. So I talked to her, reached out to her, said, man, I'd love you to come on the show and you talk about some of these issues weekly, and it'd be dope for Black History Month. And she was like, man, I'm with it. So we did it.
Here we are.
Vanita, what's up?
So do you have feedback? I want to make sure there's like not an echo when I'm talking.
No, you sound crystal clear.
yeah.
We got you good.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have fancy mics like y'all, so you know, I got to up my game. All right.
Don't believe the hype. They ain't fancy.
I want to say, so I do a lot of policy work. So this is like interesting to me. Like I led Digital for Legalized Illinois. Something is telling me that one day we might be talking about that as a failed policy. But to Toussaint's point, I think that, you know, there isn't as strong an understanding as I would like from a lot of folks about how like federal policy especially has led us to the point that we're in as Black folks. And some of the stuff I've been talking about online, I started like with the New Deal. The New Deal was passed and it was like a bunch of policies that were designed to pull people out of poverty after the Depression. And, you know, it was progressive and it's considered one of the most progressive policies ever passed. And even now you hear people saying, oh, Joe Biden needs to give us a New Deal level policy to get us out of this mess. And we need to be careful when we say that because the New Deal, you know, was passed in the 30s. It excluded Black people. for the most part, right? It was progressive in that it was the first time some Black people got help from the federal government, but the majority of us didn't get that help. So everything from, job creation to kind of housing support, we didn't get that. So, white people were given a leg up. They got access to the good jobs first. They got access to the housing first, and we were, kind of it was there of Jim Crow in the South and sneak racism in the North. So we just weren't a part of that. And then you go ahead, another 10, 15 years, you have the GI Bill. Again, another progressive policy that helped grew the middle class in this country. Soldiers who were coming back from World War II got a lot of, they got access to low interest mortgage loans. They got money to go get their, high school diplomas or vocational training. If they wanted to go start a business or go to college, they got money for that. The majority of Black veterans, World War II veterans, they didn't get that. Both of my grandfathers served in World War II. It's segregated ranks, came back, and they didn't get money to buy a cute little tract home. They didn't get money to go to school or do any of that stuff. So the GI Bill, white families, white communities were able to build wealth off of that. That is literally what built the middle class, what helped grow the middle class in this country. And we were intentionally excluded from that. Labor protections were built into that. But as they were writing those laws, they were like, but everybody but these Black folks. So, those are some of the intentional things. But even if you look into modern times, policies that were created to try to fix some things, right? You think about the Community Reinvestment Act that was passed in the late 70s, and it was supposed to counter the damage of redlining. And redlining was a federal policy which basically told banks not to loan to Black folks or loan to buy homes in majority Black areas. So the Community Reinvestment Act was supposed to, fix that, but there was no government oversight. So the majority of those loans were, given to white people and investors who bought in Black neighborhoods. And so it actually led to the gentrification and the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Black folk. So even well-intentioned public policy, screws us over. And not to get too nerdy into history, I think it's important that we kind of pay attention to the stuff. We have a lot of policies now that look progressive on the surface. Like I mentioned, I worked on Legalize Illinois, which legalized recreational cannabis here in the state, and is supposed to expunge records and kind of level the playing field and provide equity so Black folks can invest in this booming market. Last time I checked, the majority of those licenses were not being given to Black folks. So we may look at this in a few years and be like, okay, that was some failed policy.
Right. Is that majority or all? All of those licenses was given to others, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say all, but the majority of those licenses were not given to Black and brown folks. We're looking now, huge COVID relief policies are being discussed. We have to pay attention to what's going into these bills, right? Because we don't know how, to come to harm us in a few years. And if there's no oversight, we don't know if they're going to be evenly applied. We know that Black folks, poor folks have been hit the hardest during this pandemic. But are the bills, the packages that are being passed now, how are they going to, what are our communities, what harm is going to be done to us in 5 years, 10 years? It's something we all need to pay attention to. People like to say they don't care about politics or policy, but this stuff literally not just affects you today, but can impact you for generations to come. Even simple things like the bill that built the highways in this country, they destroyed Black neighborhoods. Because if you look around this country, highways are built, were cut through the middle of Black neighborhoods. And that was intentional. City planners did that intentionally. So we have to be not that everybody has to become a policy nerd, but we need to pay attention to what's being snuck into bills at the end. We have to pay attention to how things are being rolled out. One thing I said on Facebook, when things are given to states to control, it never works out for Black people ever. States' rights just don't work for us. And so we have to be mindful of that. We all you just have to be engaged and pay attention 24/7 because this stuff impacts you generationally, and it's literally why we are here is because of like generations of like intentionally racist biased stuff has created a wealth gap that it's so hard for us to overcome.
Vanita, my grandfather was a recipient of the GI Bill, right?
How'd he get it? You tell me.
He was light skinned and from New Orleans. You know how y'all work. Okay. You know what I mean?
Okay. My grandfathers, they did not get that, right?
Right. But so he got it. And I don't know how he got it, but he did get it. And he bought one of them little small tract homes on 95th and Prairie, right? And it anchored our family in for 3-4 generations at this point. You know what I mean? At some point in time, somebody in my house out of every generation has had to live in that house, which essentially became an anchor point. But I was looking at the value of the house. Like, they're still paying a mortgage on that house today, which is insane, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But I was thinking about that house, and I think about the mortgage on the house, and then I look. It's the same builder that built that house has also built homes in what's the neighborhood over there by the Sox Park? I always forget the name of that name. Bridgeport. Right. So you can see that same model home on 35th and whatever streets are in Bridgeport, and like the comps on that house would be like, I don't know, almost $1 million today. Whereas the comps on the house on 95th and Prairie are like 80 grand. So I fully understand the conversation you're having around policy, but I kind of come to this consensus that we've been made a contagion to wealth. We've legitimately been made a contagion to wealth. So when I hear the policy conversation and the argument, I agree with you 100%, but I think the only thing that lifts us up out of poverty is reparations. I don't really see any other answer.
No, I agree. And I think like looking at how these policies that built wealth excluded us, that makes the case for reparations, right? We didn't get, the majority of Black people didn't get access to like New Deal policies that pulled folks out of poverty after the Depression. The majority of Black people, when the GI Bill was passed, were in the South. And because states ran it, they were like Jim Crow is the law of the day, which, my family, I'm from New Orleans. And so my grandfathers didn't get to participate in the GI Bill. But that makes the case for reparations. But reparations are necessary because like money and wealth is how you balance power, right? And so there has to be a dramatic like transfer of power in this country for us to even the playing field. And that scares like white people. It scares the ruling class when you say that. But we also have to be mindful of the fact that even when we try to access wealth, there are barriers. So the majority, like even Black people with good credit who make six-figure income, they are directed towards predatory loans, home loans, right? So you can do all the things you're supposed to do. Have an 800 credit score. You can make six figures.
And
you're going to get a bad home
get business loans too. They'll get a predatory home loan, but they rarely get a business loan.
Yeah. And so there's still these barriers that are in place. So in addition to like reparations, you're going to have to there's going to have to be oversight in like all of these systems. Like, banks are going to have, and it's going to have to be federal oversight because individual states can't be trusted to do it. You're going to have oversight into like all of these entities that provide access to capital. And that scares people, and no one wants to make that investment into kind of, providing, equity and leveling the playing field.
Yeah, that's real, man. But look, I appreciate you coming on, man. I'm super intrigued by the commentary that you putting up.
Because those are the pieces you've been putting on.
I've been leveraging your stuff too. I've been copying it and putting it on. I Said What I Said's Instagram site as well. I've been quoting you too, so you get your credit.
Yeah.
But if you want people to follow you, man, you want me to put your Instagram handle out here or not?
Yeah, Girl Get a Life.
That's right. Go follow Girl Get a Life on Instagram.
I like it.
That's funny.
No, I like it.
It is funny.
I like it.
Yeah, that's that New Orleans.
Vanita, thank you so very, very much. We truly appreciate you and certainly looking forward to having you come back on throughout the month to come through with some more of these teaching lessons and teaching moments for understanding where we've been. Will certainly be the best indicator of where we are going or need not go. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing that information. We appreciate it.
Oh, thank y'all.
Thanks,
Absolute
Vanita.
pleasure.
Peace.
Bye.
Again, that was Vanita Griffin kind enough to come on, and she's gonna be. Is it gonna be Thursdays? We're gonna do every Thursday. How we doing it?
I hope so.
Okay.
I'll call her see if that works. But she said Thursday this week. We'll see. You know, everybody's an entrepreneur, so
Whatever works. Either way, she'll be on here regularly to educate and put us on to things. Because I've been enjoying the pieces that you've been putting up too, so it's good to have her on. I'm looking forward to hearing more about those. Listen, let's take a quick break. When we come back from break, going to be joined by our good brother Brian Gorman, a.k.a. Superman. Got to talk to him about the blueprint for Black liberation. Also, just got to catch up with.
Specifically ask him about that Pulitzer winning article that I wrote for that introductory drop of the magazine, because I'm Norman Rockwell with the pen usually, because I'm that cold on the art side. Mm-hmm. But these days, you feel I'm something different out here.
You feeling real James Baldwin?
It's really getting some real James.
You feeling real JB?
James Baldwin action out
you feeling real JB these days?
I usually was Norman Rockwell, but I'm thinking I'm supposed to be James Baldwin. Yeah, it's crazy how it's working out here.
Hey, if you like it, I love it, brother. His name is Tucson. My name is Herb Howard. Behind the glass, doing all the hard work is Flo. Check in with him on the other side of this break. This is I Said What I Said. We'll be right back.
Chicago Legal Network is the collaboration of attorneys that concentrate in many areas of the law most needed in Chicago neighborhoods. The CLN lawyers focus on personal injury, criminal defense, and other issues. The CLN lawyers all average over 20 years of legal experience and are dedicated to helping the Chicago community. The Chicago Legal Network is committed to developing Black lawyers through mentorship and co-representation. So if you were injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or injured on the job, or you need assistance with criminal defense, including driving violations and DUI, check out ChicagoLegalNetwork.com for more information, or call 773-912-3545. 773-912-3545.
Chicago's Power Hour. I'm your host, Angie Mims, and
Terrence Key,
TD, a.k.a. Terrence Daniels.
I wish I had one witness in the house.
You got one.
Got a couple of them.
Got
two T's.
Give me a testimony.
Oh, Lord. He's did it before. Oh, Lord.
I got one. Something better. I got 5 reasons.
5 reasons. Oh, Lord. He turned it around.
Turn it around. He woke me up this morning.
Oh. Don't do this. Don't do this.
Go
number
ahead.
4?
He woke me up this morning.
Come on, number 3. Come.
He woke me up.
Oh, Lord.
He woke you up.
That thing can touch you.
I'm
One
telling
of
you.
them 5s will get you. What's the second one?
He woke me up this morning.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh my God.
And the number 1 reason,
Number 1. Final answer.
he woke me up this morning.
He woke me up this morning.
That's a testimony.
That's a
Turn that thing
testimony.
Are you curious to explore the intellectual currents that channel our thoughts and frame our reality? Have you ever meditated for relaxation and accidentally discovered the universe in the process? These matters and many more you may never have even thought of will be yours to explore as you come with me into Muwakil's world. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11 to 1, right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
WIFTBPM.
Drew, why you be doing the boys like that, putting them all in their feelings? I don't know. Shit, I can't help it. Nah, cause I be riding in the new whips. Yeah, and shitting on these haters. Yeah. They say I got a problem, huh? Keep bearing these foreign whips. Why you doing like that? They say I got a problem. Cause I keep a bad bitch. Don't flag. They say I got a problem, huh? Fucking these racks up. Don't do it like that. They say I got a problem, huh? I stay designer down. They say I got a problem, yeah. They say I got a problem. 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 Pulling up a new whips, yeah. I got a problem. Yeah, 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 I got a problem. Stay dripped up in the lace. New whip, new bitch. Pockets full, walk with a limp. Ballin' on you niggas like Sean Kemp. New stick, got it on my hip. Stay dripped down, keep a bad bitch. My crib filled with muscle whips. Young flat nigga, rockin' skinny jeans, Balenciagas on my feet. Pulling up, I'm flicking on them. All the jewelry on me, water dripping on me. My jewels bright like a chandelier, like bad bitch. I ride fat whip. Got niggas mad with some sad face, cause I came up, started from the bottom. No hand out, got it on my own. Was a team player, but they ain't show love. Put the niggas on, team full of boss standing out, sitting over attention. My jury loud, it's a light show. Hoping wrist up, just let it up.
That's your joint?
All my bitches love you, all my niggas hustle. Don't let it hold, I ain't with the cuff now.
I like it. I like the hook a lot. What's happening, fam? What's happening, fam? We are back. We are live from inside the What's in It for the Black People Media Studios. My name is Herb Howard. His name is Tucson Warner. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to I Say What I Said. We appreciate each and every one of you guys. If you are tuned in on Facebook, if you are tuned in on YouTube, shout out to yourself. We appreciate y'all so very, very much. I saw another video. Apparently, it's this dude. His name's like Angry Reactions. He be on like Twitter or TikTok or something like that. I saw something from him on Instagram. It was so dope. All he said, he came in the camera, real angry, like big black dude on some real angry face stuff. And he like, you got 5 seconds to tell me the 3 most beautiful people you ever seen in your life.
Still on him. He breathe hard.
And he said, you see how you ain't say yourself? I got a problem with that. You beautiful. I was like, I am beautiful. But I didn't think of myself when he first asked me to. I was a little nervous. Anyway, I like the dude. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. Thank y'all so much for rocking with us today. Again, let's hop into the production studio and check in with the good brother Flo, see what's going on over there. Flo, what's happening, man?
What's up, bro, man? Another day, another dollar, man. Glad to see y'all, man. What's going on?
Keep Sweat Vibes on camera.
Killing them.
Hey. Check in.
The Lycra suede.
Check in. See, they do like this. They do like this a lot. You know what I'm saying? Right, anybody rub their hands a lot? You know what I'm saying? You rub your hands a lot like this.
I'm out here just maintaining.
They do a lot with their shoulders.
You know what I'm saying? Got the Lycra suede fit on, you know what I'm saying?
They say a lot of words, but they don't say much. They be like, you know what I'm saying? You catch it with me, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I don't. What did you say?
What did you say?
Anyway, man, that's the good brother Flo. He's doing all of the hard work behind the glass. Appreciate you, brother. You are certainly one of a kind, man. Had the pleasure of being joined at the top of the show by Vanita Griffin. She came in on some hitting us with some Black History pieces, and she's going to be joining us periodically throughout Black History Month. Now we are going to be joined by our brother, the one and only, man. His name is Brian Gorman. I personally like to call him Superman, whether he like it or not. It's just how I feel about him. Brian Gorman, what's happening, King? How are you?
What's up, family? How you doing, man?
Ain't
nothing. And I'm gonna tell you, Superman also was Clark Kent, right?
Yeah.
And so just call me Clark Kent, brother. I don't know you. I don't need people to see me pull off my cape.
You're not calling you nobody named after a white man. You're not doing that.
Well, you're right. Since Tucson said that, you are absolutely right, bro.
I was finna go with it too, but I'm with you on the no white man. We can't name Brian Gorman after a white man.
I ain't gonna be able to do it.
We ain't gonna be able to do it. We ain't gonna be able to do it. What's happening, Brian?
What's up, family? How y'all doing?
Man, ain't nothing to it. Good to see you, man. Hope all is well with the fam. Hope the wife and kids are going just swell, man. I ain't talked to you in a while, man. It's been a minute, man. But it's very, very good to have you caught up on the show. You got a really, really, really big thing I was about to say it's about to happen. It's already happening. It's just waiting for everybody to know about it, man. You wanna put us on to what that thing is?
Well, let's start off with Gorman House Publishing, man. So maybe about 7-8 years ago, my wife's a poet, and we decided that we wanted to publish her works. We didn't necessarily want to seek a deal. So, you guys know me. I'd rather just do it myself.
Right.
So we started Gorman House Publishing, and we started publishing her books. And from doing that, we was like, well, this is an outlet. I mean, we got to have our voices heard. We need to have people hear what we got to say. So we started embarking on projects that we can work on to just kind of like change the perception of what people think of what Black people look like. Like, me and my brother Tucson, we and a sister named Nancy Wong, we did a book together called the Gia Project. In fact, I got it right here. Hold on, I'm gonna show you. Shameless plug too.
Yeah.
So my man Tucson did the book cover. Hold on. There you go. So pretty much it was just to give people a different perception of what Black people look like. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's a bunch of photos of just beautiful Black people, man.
Yeah.
And so that was at the time when we started doing that. It was when Chicago was like the violent city of the world, right? And so everybody was like calling and it was like, hey, B, how's Chicago? Are you guys dodging bullets and all that stuff? And that wasn't what it was. So that's why we wanted to do that project. So from that, we started doing other projects. And the next one was to try to figure out different ways to build up entrepreneurs and things like that. So we started a line of books, like how to be a successful entrepreneur. Like, so, you know, that's another one that I published just to put it out there to give people just a blueprint XYZ. But today we're talking about the blueprint of Black liberation. So that was, I started not-for-profit right after we got done doing the 10,000 Fearless. We did custom resources on 79th Street. Yeah. And out of that project, we started working on, you know, like, what is Black liberation? How can we get people active? You know, so I started a Facebook group called Chicago Community Activism. And on that group, it was just to kind of share information. That was probably like 2014 or so. Yeah. And it was just to share information because people was calling like, what's going on? I don't know how to get involved, how to get active. So I was like, I'm going to put everything there. And then once I put it there, then, you know, people can start getting active. But what I noticed was that there was a lot of people that was doing the work, but they was never getting any shine, you know? Like, nobody ever talked about them. Nobody ever gave them any kudos. Nobody patted them on the back. None of that kind of stuff. So, you know, I was like, man, what if we start a magazine to kind of like highlight some of these organizations, highlight some of these people that, you know, like you two, you guys are my idols. I love y'all, you know, because y'all my brothers, but I also know y'all from what y'all do outside of here. So it's people like y'all that I want to like highlight and give some shine to. So that's how it started. And from that, you know, it's always the funding question. Like, well, how we going to put this money up behind it? How we going to figure this out? So in just kicking around the conversation, I ran into an organization called Black Roots Alliance. Caitlin Johnson, shout out to her. And she was in a partnership with Gumbo Media. Matthew Manning, shout out to him. They were already working on something in the same vein. So we started having these conversations together and was like, you know what, let's put it together. Let's put our ideas together and come up with something. And that's how we got the Black Liberation the blueprint for the Black Liberation magazine. You know, we're going to focus on the education, democracy, economics, security and safety, health and wellness, and also obviously giving those frontline stories, you know, so people can, you know, tell what's going on. So I'm going to segue that into Two Sides piece, man. I love my brother.
Tell him.
Look at him.
I'm going to say this, man. My brother too is like one of the most talented people that I know. I mean, not just like graphic design, but that brother's, and y'all get to get him every day to get a little piece of that, man. And as a result of that, man, he submitted a piece about what is it to be a Black man. I know, I'm just gonna say this, Two Sides. That's the beginning of your book, man. You've been talking about that for a minute.
The book we've been trying to get him to come through with for years.
Yeah. We've been telling him, you know, like, you can't whoop my ass. I'm like, Two, we need that book, man.
I'm trying, B. I'm trying. I'm spread thin, baby. I'm trying to serve the people everywhere.
I know, bro. I know. So long story short, man, Two Sides submitted this piece, and it kind of segues into something that, you know, I know we wasn't gonna talk about, but it made me kind of like, this is a good time to talk to you brothers about it. Man, everybody's definition of Black liberation is different, man. And I didn't, you know, my definition is one thing, and I'm sure that it's the same as y'all's because we like-minded in that regard. But man, you know, when you start letting allies into spaces and stuff, people's definition of liberation becomes different. And that's what I didn't learn from this project, you know. So with me, it's gonna be raw and uncut all the time, you know. But you know, some people get funding and they scared to ruffle feathers. That's all I'm gonna say, bro.
Question, B, you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, right? I think we always kind of hear this conversation in our community, specifically lately at least, how we kind of parade around screaming that we're not a monolith. And essentially, man, I think there's some value in being a monolith. So when you say, like, you know, everybody's definition of Black liberation is different, how does that fare for us? How do you think that fares for us as a people?
Man, and that's what's scary to me, man. I ain't gonna lie, that scared the shit out of me because the truth is that there should be some things that's universal, man. You know, like we should be fighting. I know I was listening to you guys talking to Vanita, and one of the things that you guys were talking about is reparations. That should be something that we should all be able to get around. You know what I'm saying?
And you get
like
even on that, you get people who oppose.
Even on that, you got people that are fighting it. You know, like, well, I don't know, because you know they wasn't slave. Man, I don't give a damn what they great grandmama or granddaddy did. They still got to pay for it because they benefiting from it still.
Period.
So as far as I'm concerned, it's like, how can we, you know, like really talk about black liberation without talking about how we getting our money back? You know what I'm saying? How we getting paid so that we can be in position to liberate ourselves. That's the real conversation. You know what I'm saying? And when we start walking around all of these various different things, it always comes back to how the hell are we gonna get this money to pay for the things that we need to do to liberate ourselves? And circulating the black dollar is definitely one of them, you know.
Right.
But
it's not enough black dollars to make a significant enough impact, no matter how we circulate them. I mean, I am always saying that we need to be better stewards of the resources that we do have. That being said, we still don't have enough. So even if we were perfect with what we have, we still wouldn't have enough to fund our liberation. Wars are expensive.
Man, it's like this, man. When we start talking about, you know, just funding ourselves, we have been successful as black people getting by with nothing. You know, like, how do you be able to get by with nothing? But when you start talking about fighting the power is money, right? And when you start talking about how you gonna fight the power, you can't fight the power with no money. And that's the real truth. You can't, because at some point you get dismissed, or we gonna have some rocks, and they gonna have them things with the outcast say that stuff that'll blow your back out from around the room.
Or just the fact that, you know, we live where we live without fundage. Half of our party gonna be like, man, I'm with y'all, but I still got to feed these babies. I still got to, you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
but I'm gonna provide a little bit of pushback in this vein, right? I think we're entering into a new paradigm too. Like, the entirety of the world is changing. You know what I mean? I often talk about us going into this like fourth economic revolution. You know what I mean? So I think we're going to be forced to commit to one idea. Because I think we're going to be forced into a level of poverty that we've never experienced since slavery. You know what I mean? I hate to say that, but I just think that's what the trajectory is going to show us. And in that vein, you know, survival is going to be essential. And, you know, we just got the phone with Vanita, right, for example. So Vanita was talking about the New Deal. She also talked about the GI Bill. She talked about the Great Depression for a hot second, like pulling us out of the Great Depression. Well, my grandmother was the the second of 16 children, right? So her youngest sister is younger than my father.
Okay.
Right? So she was born in the middle of the Great Depression. Right. It was a point in time where all 15 of them had to live in the same house out of necessity to survive. You know what I mean? And granted, different world, right? But my uncles would walk the train tracks picking up coal from the trains that left the coal so they could heat the house. But it was like all hands on deck just to survive. You know, it becomes a necessity.
Everybody got to roll
live together in this little bitty ass room. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. If we gonna survive, this how it has to be. Right? Because they was locked out of wealth. They was coming out of the Great Depression. When you do the real math and you understand the real numbers, you understand that we're living in a greater wealth disparity today than there ever has been before on this soil.
Right.
Now it's wrapped up in the illusion that you got a toilet in your house.
Right.
But shit is changing.
Right.
And it's changing fast.
Right.
You know what I mean? So not saying that I'm looking forward to this. I just think the writing is on the wall. You know what I mean?
Oh, I said something earlier too.
Yeah, I think the writing's on the wall. So in regards to, like, you know, it takes money to fight money. I fully with it. I get it. But, you know, just like the Viet Cong, you know, America had much more funding than the Viet Cong, but Viet Cong had a better understanding of their commitment to the idea, and they put the traps on America. You know what I mean?
And that's what I'm saying though. When you start talking about us here. We value some money, man, and that's unfortunate that our community only values the guy with the money. So the guy with the money can make the rules, right? Even in our community. So like the drug dealers and everything else. So if we don't have somebody like that to say, hey, as a group, this is what we're on, then we're going to run into these problems with people that don't necessarily, like, we're not the same as our grandparents. Like, our grandparents understood community, village values, right?
Almost out of necessity too, though.
Right? And it was out of necessity, you know, but we don't have that. We're like, it's all about me, bling bling society now. And as a result of that, just as we was little, man, I guarantee there was nobody ever stuck in the snow. We just gonna talk about what we see right here, right? But in the last week or so, I've been watching people just drive by folks that's just stuck in the snow. Women, babies, it don't even matter. Ain't nobody stopping. They just driving right past them like, I got to get where the hell I got to get. Right. You know, and that sense of just, you know, helping out our neighbor has completely disappeared. I guarantee that most black folks don't even know who the fuck they live next to. Excuse me that I cussed it. I couldn't. But they don't know who they live next to. They don't know. They go past those people. They see them, but then they walk right past them like every day.
Let me add this into that too. And this speaks to the importance of the blueprint for Black liberation. When you talk about the fact that this narrative about these carjackings and this fear that's going through the community, that is also causing people to be like, hell no, I'm not pulling over, I'm not stopping, I'm not going to help. You know what I'm saying? Like, and all of that kind of plays into it. And so it's important that we are able to control our narratives and able to, on the one hand, acknowledge that things are happening in our community that we need to respond to in terms of these carjackings or whatever, but also on the other hand, control how that narrative is being pushed through our community and how we go about responding to it and how it affects the way we go about our day-to-day interactions with our should-be neighbors, right? Like, even though, to your point, like you said, we probably don't know them most of the time.
Right, but, you know, when you take it a step further, if I know that, you know, shout out to, as you call him, Batman and Q and the safe.
Well, Q call him Batman. I mean, two call him Batman.
So shout out to the family, but
right.
But I'll just say this, man. If we did that in shifts every day, we would see the carjacking cease. And it ain't because that we're gonna be out here snatching guns. Nah. It's because they're gonna see the commitment that we have in making sure that our community is safe. And if we have that commitment, then they're going to model that commitment at some point. Because I'm not scared to whoop one of these shorties out here, and and I know y'all ain't either. Right. But at the same time, when it comes down to it, they need to see that kind of commitment. They need to understand that they're going to get messed up if they keep playing around. Because there's something else that's at play, and they letting these kids roll like this for another reason.
Exactly.
And I'll call it crime bill too. But at the end of the day, they letting it slide. You know what I'm saying? And we so disconnected from one another that we won't even have the conversations with each other to say that that's what we see. So we would be like, you know what? That dude over there was a problem last week, and I ain't say nothing to him, and now he a carjacker. Lock his ass up forever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's where we're at as a community, because we're scared, and I understand why we scared, because it's dangerous out here sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's real. I'm not being naive about where we live or what's going on, but I'm just saying how we respond to it is very short-sighted in nature, and it doesn't allow us to respond to it with a long-term type of thing in mind. And we get real emotional about it, and as opposed to, you know, thinking this thing through, we want to just lock everybody up or get rid of everybody or throw them away. And it's like, we can't really do that. We don't have that luxury for real.
Man, I'm trying to touch on a lot of stuff while we're here, you know, and all of that stuff comes from trauma, man. You know, I'm hurt, and because I'm hurt, I'm gonna hurt those that look like me. I'm gonna hurt those that model the same behavior as me, because ultimately I don't even like myself, because it feels like I'm on the bottom. You know what I'm saying? And so as a result of that, I'm killing everything that moves, because I'm angry, hurt, and hurt people. And everybody knows people that hurt people that's in close proximity to one another.
So that's why I wrote that article, though, right? Even what you just said is like, you know, I'm hurt because it feels like I'm on the bottom. We are on the bottom. That's the reality. We are on the bottom. So when I start thinking about the onus of responsibility, I put it on the men in the community. And that's exactly why I wrote the article in the manner in which I wrote it. You know what I mean? We have a responsibility out here. And just like I was telling you the other day, we was having a conversation around the song, and you was like, gangsters do what they want,
Right.
suckers do what they can.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I said, no, men do what's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And what's necessary in this moment is that men rise to the occasion in every capacity. Now, I'm fully conscious and aware that we fighting battles on every goddamn front, right? But we still got to show up in that fight in every capacity. You know what I mean? The reason why they model gangsters or gangsterism, because gangsters and gangsterism looks like success. Mm. It just is what it is. We got to redefine the narrative of what success is, right? The reason why you could ride through the neighborhoods and they riding past women and children stuck in the snow because men ain't showing up in their proper polarity. Because ain't no man going to let it happen. When I left here the other day to shovel my auntie's snow, I told you I had to pick up her grandson, who then tried to call me and say, well, let's do it tomorrow. No, little Negro, you coming down these stairs and you going to do it today. Right. And then when they was out there doing it, because there aren't very many men in their lives, both of them was struggling with the process because it's not something that they regularly do. You know what I mean? So even in my own family, like I know I'm kind of like I'm the patriarch. It's crazy as that sounds. Yeah. Of the entirety of my family. I get it. You know, and that's my little nephew, and I don't see him all that often, but I got to when you got to learn this process. And no, when your grandmama calls you, I don't care you got some little girl at your crib.
You drop it and go.
You going to do this. Right. It just is what it is. You got to do what's necessary.
Right. It's a sense of responsibility. It's a sense of responsibility that we must have within ourselves to our communities, but accountability that we must have to each other in our communities. And it's you know, when you align yourself that way, all those other things don't seem worth it. They seem minuscule. Like, oh, I got to do this other thing. I got to do this other thing. Well, nah, Brian expected me to pop up out here. Tools expecting me to pop up over here. And so it don't matter. Like, you know what I'm saying? When we holding each other accountable that way and you feel like you are responsible for your brother, responsible for your sister, you show up in that way. And so it don't matter. Like, oh, well, you know, Sister Africa called me to come do this. I'm going to do that. Brian called me to come out here. I remember Brian called me to come to the Hunnits one night. And this wasn't a sacrifice or nothing. I don't even think I was doing nothing. But it's just this is what he was on. He come out to the Hunnits and for this meeting, right? Dog, in this meeting, okay? The streets.
He told me about that meeting.
The streets, okay? I ain't talking about like a couple of boys in the corners. I'm talking about the streets is in the meeting. Like, and we sitting there and we talking all these things about, okay, how do we utilize this side of what we got on our team and put it in conjunction with the other side of our team to maximize all of our abilities, man. And those are the types of things we got to do. We got to be open to utilizing our entire squad and everything we got.
Heard, man, you tell it a lot, man. I just say this.
I'm sorry.
We gotta learn how to move around everywhere. I'm a true blooded Chicagoan. I claim no flags and claim all flags. If you understand what I mean by that, you know what I'm saying. I'm a true son of the city, as to say, you know. And so as a result of that, I got to be able to do the things that we got to do. So that means I got to go talk to the board members. I got to go talk to the board members. You know what I'm saying? So when it goes down to it, we got to be able to liberate our folks, man, any kind of way we can. And that means that we got to deal with the streets. That means we got to deal with the politicians. That means we got to deal with the activists. That means we got to deal with the business community. That means we got to deal with the shorties. That means
clergy.
We got to deal with the clergy. That means we got to deal with the nation. That means we got to deal with the Baha'is. That means we got to deal with. So you see how that list get long, and it keeps going. I mean, I could just keep going. Who we got to deal with, and ultimately, when it comes down to
educators,
it's only a few people that can move around all these places. You know what I'm saying? And y'all brothers are two of them. You know, and that's why I love y'all, man, because ultimately, when we start talking about Black liberation, we can't talk about exclusion. You know what I'm saying? And that's what people be talking about. They be talking about, well, we liberating everybody but them because I don't talk.
Yeah, we want to cut out everybody. We want to cut out the thugs. We want to cut out the shooters. We want to cut out returning citizens. We want to cut out homosexuals. We can't cut out everybody. We don't really have that luxury. Now, everybody can't go out. I acknowledge that, and I acknowledge where some of those activities are to our detriment, and we can't really allow those things to permeate in certain ways. But just to be finding ways to cancel people as opposed to finding ways to include people, that is not our blueprint for success. Our blueprint for Black liberation.
It's not a blueprint.
I'm with y'all, but to that turning point, we got to cut out everybody who ain't on code.
Agreed.
Right?
Right. I don't disagree.
Cutting out everybody that's on code is that we've not developed the code.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You got to give people a chance to be a part of the thing, but the thing ain't even clearly defined yet.
Back to manhood. We got to. The man is going to set the standard for that code, and once that code is established, and then we're going to move accordingly. But in order to set that code, to set that tone, we got to be operating in our proper polarity. That's right. It just is what it is, right? We had a conversation the other day about Charleston White. Charleston White is he's like lightning in the bottle. He's everywhere. You know what I mean? He's everywhere because he's audacious and the world is just turning to him. Now, I don't think Charleston White is all that intelligent. You know what I mean? But his audacity got the attention because that's what a man is going to do, right? So even when B was like, people don't stop because they're afraid or this because they fear, we got to walk through that fear, i.e. necessity, what's necessary, right? You can't fall victim to being afraid of your child. That's part of the process, right? We become chocolate-covered white folks, right? We educated in their institutions. We listen to the same media outlets. We view ourselves the same way they view us. And that's a narrative that's been perpetually created on purpose. You know what I mean? We want you to be in this frame of mind when you see black people, when you start talking about implicit bias. The police, the white police is the white police at the black police department. Right? They might not necessarily be racist. They might not be.
Sure.
Right? But if your whole life is formatted in a way that every understanding of black life you have is in the negative, whenever you see them, you're not operating in aggression. You're really operating in fear. It's an implicit bias. But we got to understand it. We're being educated in them same systems, right? We watch and explore the same media outlets. We're getting the same messaging, which is why it's easy for Charleston White. Every word he says, nigga, 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 nigga. Then when he mentioned that white man, he said, but the white man said it's no derogatory term to the white man. Now, in his mind, he's justifying the nigga as a colloquialism. No, it's not. It's a conditioning. We say nigga too, and it's the same conditioning. I'm not above the conditioning. You know what I mean? But we got to operate outside of that polarity and start to build our own narrative.
Yeah. Let's pause it right there. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll jump deeper into that conversation. Brian Gorman is joining us on the live line. My name is Herb. His name is Tu. This is I Said What I Said.
Introducing your trusted source for high-quality black emojis, better known as Blackmoji. We believe black is beautiful, and that beauty should be reflected in the digital market. Now there is an app that does just that, starting with Black Greek letter organizations. Blackmoji D9 offers more than an emoji app. It is a cultural experience of black excellence. Download the app in the Apple or Google Play Store to access a specially curated catalog of emojis representing the Divine Nine. Use the emojis to celebrate Black Greek events, acknowledge current events, support social causes, and learn about esteemed Black Greek members who blaze the trail of Black history. A portion of every subscription goes toward a scholarship fund specifically for members of Black Greek letter organizations to help keep the legacy alive. Download the Blackmoji app today.
Hey Chicago, you know we've all been impacted by COVID, especially in our communities. Help protect Chicago. We need everyone to stay safe and get the facts about the COVID-19 vaccine. Visit the What's in It for the Black People Media Facebook page and www.chicago.gov/COVIDVax for the facts.
Shop at Black-owned and operated Solo Beauty, where you are appreciated and respected. Located at 8158 South Cottage Grove, Solo Beauty can supply all of your Black hair care needs. Solo Beauty is open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday. WIFTBPN.
From the bottom, but I'm leaving on top. Before I ever put the arm and hammer in the pot, daddy went home, told mama she could leave me on the block. If a nigga need work done, ain't hard to find. If you pay the right price, I be Johnny on the spot. Paid the plug extras just to fit it with a dot. 50 in the drum, only need 3 shots. I be telling these niggas I'm surgical with it. Ain't trained to be asking, I'm trained to go get it. If it's sustained, then you know I'm gon' hit it. Take nobody with me, don't need co-defenders. No lean in my cup, I don't need codependents. No pills in my blood, just distilling some gloves. And the steamer that's built and the bitch that's in love. Cause when I need an alibi, that's where I'm gon' be. West side of Chi, that's the home of 2-3. Used to breaking people cars parked at the UC. Fuck 'em, Chief said stick 'em, so we stuck 'em. I was leaning dick to these hoes, I don't love 'em. Waited long to get to these flows, I was stubborn. Got shit to say, gotta get it off my chest. Used to have to pack a piece to get a piece of mind. I ain't resting in peace now, so a nigga feel blessed. A nigga from the bottom. From the bottom, but I'm leaving on the top. Focused on the win, I ain't focused on the op. Made it out the streets, but it still fuck the cops. A nigga from the bottom. from the bottom, but I'm leaving on the top. Used to rise and shine, had to get my proper chop. Keeping one up in the pipe, cause the streets don't stop. If you start some shit, nigga, I'ma finish. Knock a nigga foam off the top like Guinness. Sipping, used to be in Houston, steady tipping. Now I'm out in Cali where these niggas set tripping. I stay in my lane, the streets, man, they put me on game. How real you is, got shit to do with your chain and your watch. Real is what pump through your veins, what you doing when the streets don't watch. Life is a song, keep it moving, cause the beat don't stop till they put me in a box. Trying to get a bag, and I'ma get to it with a mic or a mask. If you try to stop me, that's a fight for your ass. Used to put the work in the bags, they was busting. If a clucker wasn't smoking, they was dusting. Had them nodding off like they was sipping Robitussin. About bread bullshit, ain't about nothing. Niggas still capping for the hoes trying to front. 5 in the cypher, only smoking 1 blunt. No gas in they whip, only 1 clip between them. Got 2 guns, but they don't even clean them.
What's happening, good people? What's happening? Welcome back live from the What's in It for the Black People Media Studios. My name is Herb Howard. My esteemed co-host, his name is Tucson Warner. Just as I said what I said, it is intellectual thuggery at its absolute finest, the blackest conversation in America. In the production studio, playing all the hits and doing all the hard work, that is Flo. Flo, who is that on that track, my brother?
I don't know how to pronounce it, but it sounds like it says MVZ, like we got the initials of blood.
Oh, I see you put it in the thing.
Yeah, I put it there in the comments.
Okay.
I don't know how to pronounce
track called From the Bottom?
From the Bottom, and go hard, though.
Yeah, that thing fire, the beat smack, and he walking on that joint, for real. I dig it, I dig it, I dig it, I dig it. We have been spent the last segment, we are talking to the one and only Brian Gorman. Gorman Publishing, Blueprint to Black Liberation. He's a superhero, he's a brother, he's a black man, he's yeah, absolutely. He's a black man, he's a husband, he's a father, he is a publisher, he is like a DJ. He's also a world-class DJ. Let's not leave that out, because you do get busy.
Yeah,
you do get busy on the tables.
Yes, this is true. I am GM of the Soul Selector DJs. It's 120 of us citywide. I mean, well, nationwide. And yeah, I do a lot of stuff to Herb. You know that. That's why you call me Superman. But
yeah,
I don't necessarily tell all of
you do it from all over the city. I didn't move all over the city with you, man. So I didn't see you do stuff again in the Hunters. I didn't see you do stuff in Avalon Park. I didn't see you do stuff over there by where Cabrini Green used to be, whatever they call that place now. Like, I didn't see you do stuff out over there. Cabrini Village, is that what they call it for real?
It's something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, something like that. It ain't Cabrini no more. They call it the Near North, though. We'll just call it the Near North.
Yeah, Near North, right? That's what
Near North, you know. So yeah, that area, Austin. I mean, we've been all over the place.
Like y'all both said, man, a true son of the city, man. So it's an absolute pleasure and an honor to have our brother Brian Gorman on with us this afternoon. Again, later coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, we're going to be speaking to Uncle Walt. He just celebrated his 88th birthday. Looking forward to having that conversation as well too in the 5 o'clock hour.
B, hold on real quick. B, I know y'all tied in the magazine Blueprint for Black Liberation. Is that a swipe from Amos Wilson with the Blueprint for Black Power?
You's a smart person, man.
What'd you say?
So I
right.
Amos Wilson got a book called The Blueprint for Black Power.
Uh-huh.
Amos is the
well, no, it's not necessarily a swipe, but it's
an homage.
It's an homage.
It's a homage, and then at the same time, it was kind of like when we were having the conversation. That I'll be honest, the other partners they're a little bit younger, and so with them, it was more homage to Jay-Z. I mean, just in general, just being the blueprint.
I love it. I love it. Best rap album ever. What do you want from me? I love it.
We messed up.
It's a good way to pay homage, man. We've all worked closely over the years with the Black Star Project. The late great Philip Jackson was a friend and mentor to us all, and the Black Star Project pays homage to Marcus Garvey and the Black Star Line in its title. So we pay things forward in those ways, and sometimes we give a little double entendre nod to Hove.
Yeah.
You know, and then the other side of that is, I'm just trying to
against that what you love though.
R.O. and Gino been quoting Hove all show.
I saw it. I was listening to it when I wrote up. But the point is, you cannot revolt against that what you love. I have to wean myself off the heroin. You understand what I'm saying?
Let me test you work.
At one point in time in my life, we was part of the Mixtape Kings in the city of Chicago. So one thing I did learn in that experience was that you can make anything palatable if you put it between Jay-Z songs. You know what I'm saying? So so we would have a lot of like Chicago artists that we would mix in between the hot artists so that people can actually listen to them because they wasn't listening no other way. So I mean, I learned that you gotta like put it in the food a little bit. You know how you with babies you put the medicine in
the candy.
In the candy, you know what I'm saying? So we putting the medicine in the candy and sliding it down to people. The next project that I'm working on too, I slid it to 2 because I really want that to get out here. Is that other blueprint? You know, I don't know if you're ready to approach that topic yet, but
I get it. I haven't read all the way through it yet, but we'll talk. We could bring you back for that one. We can bring you back for that one for sure. Tell me more about the magazine though. Who are some of the people writing for the magazine? I saw a lot of people chiming in saying they were interested. Who you all link into?
I mean, I say this. A lot of the artists we've got on there are from people that just submissions, man, that I've never met. Besides you, TJ put in a piece.
Hey, wait a minute. Is TJ's piece in the same issue as my piece? Take that out of there now.
Shout out to the good brother TJ Crawford, man. What's wrong with you, man?
Well, TJ's piece,
he got one of them, vocabularies like Salim.
Man, TJ wrote 2,000 words, man.
I want the
TJ wrote 2,000 words.
It's okay. It's all right.
But he's explaining Black culture. It's, and he tied in Black Culture Week. So, it's a way for us to tie all the family together. But besides that, man, these other folks, I have been submissions. I reached out to the Black Bloggers Network and a couple other writers forums to get some stuff. And then, of course, my partners reached out to, their groups. And ultimately, we got about, the crazy thing is most people wrote poetry. We got way more poetry than we got actual essays. So, so as a result of that, like I added some pieces. So like that piece with Party Loyalty for What that you guys did a piece on. I never published that nowhere. So I just went ahead and published that in that. And so, we're just moving forward with different things and getting ideas so that we can continue to build upon what Black liberation looks like. This is an ongoing process. We're going to do it online, like as well as the print copy. Ultimately, we want to have the 3 different looks, for one voice, 3 looks, because like we've already discussed, we're not necessarily monolithic. So the way that I talk to the people that I'm handing the Streetwise to is not going to be the same way that I'm going to hand a GQ magazine or something. So when you start talking about who those audiences are, the topics are the same, right? But the look is different. It's the same words, but they look glossy on one way. It might come in your Twitter feed if you're a millennial, but at the end of the day, it's still the same message, and that's what the blueprint of Black Liberation magazine.
2 things right quick, B. First of all, one of the Iswiz family members, our brother Gardis, is asking, is it too late to submit a piece? If so, maybe for the first edition, I don't know, but how do they go about trying to submit pieces for future editions?
They can send the submissions to gormanhousepublishing@gmail.com. That's pretty much where we're taking the submissions. You can go on www.gormanhousepublishing.com and kind of check it out. There's a link there also as well. But we won't probably. I mean, Gardis is my cousin, so I love that brother.
Oh, well, check that out.
So he can do whatever you want to.
That explains a lot.
Wait. How big is y'all family, man?
It's unbelievable.
A lot of y'all.
It's unbelievable,
man. So we all different sides, So Gardis, because I brought him to 10,000 Fearless, but Gardis, his father and my grandmother are siblings, so we grew up together. I can show you some pictures of Gardis and I when we was like babies. You know what I'm saying? So
I got cash money for that. I'm trying, because Gardis be having jokes on me. I'm trying to see those photos. I'm trying to put those up in the middle of the show.
I might send one to you just so that you can laugh, because I did post it.
What's crazy, though, right? So I met B later on in life, but one of my closest friends in life is Lil C's is B's cousin too. I had never met him.
It's crazy. Just like you knew everybody in my house 20 years before I knew you.
So let's bring it full circle. my cousin C's brought Tucson over to talk about Coach Heath's brand. He was doing a T-shirt line called the Coach Heath's brand. It's still one of the dopest lines that I've ever seen in my life. You know what I'm saying? So bring it back, brother. Bring it back. But needless to say, that's how me and my brother met. Shoot, that was almost what? When y'all first got home.
20 years now, yeah.
It's been about 20 years now, so yeah.
It's crazy, man. That's Chicago for you, man. As big a city as it is, it's a real small world, man. And I always say that you never more than 1 degree of separation away from somebody else in Black Chicago. You know what I mean? Like if I don't know you, somebody I know you. You know somebody I know. And it's, just crazy, like amongst our circle, like we've just happened to know people that like real close to us for a long time, even before we kind of knew each other. Two literally knew all of my brothers before I ever knew, like I'm talking like years before I ever knew him.
True too.
And so, it's just kind of crazy. And then Gino knew my other brother, my one brother that you didn't know. Your cousin Gino knew him way before I met Gino. So it's just kind of wild like that, how it works in the city.
It is, man. It's true. It is.
I mean, when it comes down to it, when it comes down to it, like people move alike. You know what I'm saying? And when you start talking about how big Chicago is, you really got to talk about how small Chicago is.
Right, that's a real spill.
It's a huge city, but it's. I mean, we're a gang banging city, man. So it's like when you start talking about that stuff, it's clicked up. You know what I'm saying? And it's a few people that move amongst all the cliques, but it's clicked up. And when you start moving amongst all the cliques, you're gonna know everybody. And
that's what makes like I'm thinking Brewfest, that's not what I mean. Silver Room. That's what make the Silver Room block party so dope. That's what make the house picnic so dope. You know what I'm saying? That's what makes shows like all of that stuff is crazy events because you walking around and you can't go 10 feet. We're like, oh, yo,
that's why we got to get over COVID. G. I can't take another summer without the Brewfest.
If we don't get Brewfest, block party, house picnic this summer, I'm moving on everything.
That's I could take every Chicago winter. I could take the crime. I could take it all.
I can deal with
those 3 events.
That's what makes it worth it.
Somebody
told me the greatest analogy about it before. They compared it to an abusive relationship. It was like every winter the city come around and just beat on you. Like, I'm sick of this. I'm never putting up with it again. That's what we say. I'm moving. And the summer come around, it's like, I'm sorry, I love you so much. I'll never hit you like that again. You're like, okay, I'm gonna stay one more time. December, shut up. but when they love you, it's so good. Like, they love me so much. I'll stay around a little bit.
Chicago will compete with any city in America in the summer.
Yeah, man.
Period.
Yeah, you're right. Chicago loves so hard, man, and but you can get your ass knocked out here for sure.
Big fact. Nothing like Summertime Shy. I think Summertime Shy is only what it is because of how brutal the winter can be.
Yeah, it only exists because of the winter.
Yeah, if the winter wasn't like it is, the summer wouldn't be like it is. So everybody be like, oh, you got to be in Miami for it's 60 degrees in Miami right now, fam. Y'all outside right now.
I'm never going to Miami this summer.
We in hibernation for 7, 8, 9 months out the year. These 3 months, it is bussing every single day. It's rooftops, it's barbecues. If nothing else, we in somebody's backyard. Like it's cracking. Street festivals or whatever. Like it's a different experience, man. If anybody out there has never experienced Summertime Shy, you need to get that done. Wait and see if this is gonna be the year to do it, because obviously we missed it last summer. Hopefully we get it back this summer. But Summertime Shy is a unique phenomenon, unlike anywhere else on certainly American soil, but probably anywhere, man. The weather and the people, it's a different thing. Summertime Shy is.
Yeah, I went to Toronto.
Man, all I can say is that.
Go ahead, B.
Oh, well, all I was gonna say is that Summertime Shy brought me my wife, man. Because if she didn't come here, she's from California, so she came here for the taste. She's a chef. Well, she was at the time, but she came here for the taste and was like, "They got food like this? Oh man, this place is lit." Yeah. So that she moved to Chicago, and that's how I found her. You know what I'm saying? She wouldn't have moved if it wasn't the Summertime Shy. If she'd have came in December,
she'd have left.
She wouldn't be here
in December.
She would have never came back. I would have never met her. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Summertime Shy.
Shout out to Summertime Shy. It's a love story.
That's true. We need to make a movie. Summertime Shy, the love story.
Which is rare.
We need to make the documentary for that.
That we should do it. But that Summertime Shy love story is kind of rare. Because it'd be up there in Summertime Shy.
You just because you buzzing them down don't mean you can't care. I'm just saying. I can't too.
Didn't they have a whole Barack Obama movie about Summertime Shy?
Yeah, but we ain't out none of that around here.
It was called Southside. It was a summertime.
Yeah, that was so
movie,
disrespectful. That was so. It should have
that-
been called. You know,
That should have been called Nebraska.
yeah, South Hawaii.
Kansas.
Get out of here. Get out of that.
Oh, y'all hilarious.
Nah,
I knew I had to jab it in there because I know how you feel about that too.
So
That's
look,
why I
B,
did that.
when the mag launches, how you all gonna distribute it?
Yeah, that's what I was
How
gonna
does
say.
that
How do people go about getting that thing?
Okay, so first,
And when is it? And when is it premiere? When is it launching? And how do people get it?
Well, we're launching it online first, February 14th, and then after that, I'm putting it online for you guys to order it to get shipped straight to your house. So we're doing a submission base, and then I'm gonna have copies, at various different locations in the city. But we haven't identified exactly which locations because of COVID. So usually it would be like coffee shops and stuff like that, but people ain't stopping and standing, so they won't necessarily see it. So as a result of that, I'm putting it in hands. Y'all know me, I'm good for street promotion, so I'm putting it in hands.
Make it happen.
That is facts. That is facts. Yo, B, I want to talk to you a little bit about, I don't know if I want to call it thinking outside the box, because it's just stuff that just makes a whole lot of sense. But when you do these small things that are really, they seem like small gestures, but the impact is grand. So things like the community libraries that you set up by hand, building the drop-off boxes in the houses where people can pick a book, take a book, those types of things. What other things like that can we do? Small gestures that could make a huge impact? Because, in our community, sometimes it's easier to get a gun than it is a library card, right? At least in the minds of people who are out here carrying the guns, right? So for you to bring the books to the block like that, I thought a small gesture, but the impact could be huge. You got any other ideas on stuff like that that could be useful or impactful?
Well, I just say this, man. The biggest impact is working on yourself. You know what I'm saying? And that's the biggest impact. So you have to identify things that you want to see changed in the world, and things that are problems and things like that, and then identify how you can, make an effort. Because like you mentioned the Little Linden Library, I didn't forget about it. That's just another one of them projects, but that's an outreach of the Gorman House Publishing. But one of the things is that we wanted to see more kids reading, and we were noticing that kids were not reading. So it was like, how can you solve this? Well, we got all these people that we know that got books that don't know what to do with them. So I was familiar, well, my wife was familiar with the Little Lending Libraries, and she was participating in that. And she was like, well, why can't we do this in our neighborhoods? So as a result of that, we started partnering with organizations to put just a little lending library in front of their business so that they can, have people get books, and it just increases the thing. So, I mean, the literacy for kids, which is the ultimate goal. So I say that to say, do things that are really, really like macro, like on your block. Help the lady cross the street, teach one of them shorties how to cut grass. You know what I'm saying? Like those things are things that are really, really small that you can do, that doesn't take no big production to do. Right. It's a thankless job, right? Because carrying in the groceries for grandma is not anything that's all that you should be blasting on Facebook or nothing like that. But at the end of the day,
fools will be out there, one handful of grocery bags, cell phone in the other hand.
Yeah, they absolutely do. But to that grandma, you just made her day.
Sure.
And see, that's one of the things that we have to understand is that, when we can create opportunities to make people smile, then we've broken down, some of that, and that's part of the things that we can do on a small level. That we could just speak to each other. You know what I'm saying? Greet people with a smile, man. Those are little things, but they have a huge impact, and people can't even see how big that impact is. But when you start creating community based upon those actions, then you'll start seeing little stuff like Ray and them not knocking folks out and stuff. Because it is always Ray, right? But you don't see them knocking folks out as quickly because they see the community. You know what I'm saying? So part of their rebellion is the fact that they don't have no community. You know what I'm saying? That they can look into and see that it exists, or that there's any type of rules in play that are commonplace. You know what I'm saying? So those are the things that we can do, Herb. Like just really just create community amongst one another, meaning have a block club event, you know what I'm saying, or start a block club, you know, little things like that create a change. If everybody, I started a program, and this is real talk. I was tired of seeing the shorties across the street from my house sitting out all day, right? Mm-hmm. I sit on 3 lots, so I have a pretty large property. So I started asking them to come cut my grass, and I pay them. But as a result of that, I started asking neighbors to allow them to cut their grass. Mm-hmm. You know, and the neighbors started allowing them to cut their grass too. Yeah. And as a result, now you have these kids with a job, you know, and they're not necessarily looking at throwing shit on the ground no more, because
they invested in how the block looks now.
Now they invested in the block, right? But if we did that block to block, think of how many shorties we could grab.
Man,
you know what I'm saying?
So much, bro.
And so I say that to say, just look at the shorties that's out in front of your house every day that's acting a fool, or that you think is acting a fool. Tell them, hey, I'll pay you to clean up the backyard. Find something for them to do. It ain't got to be something big, but find something for them to do. Engage them, right. And then ask them to, you know, be part of something bigger, which is the community. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I mean, those
proverb says, "Many hands lighten the load." That's real.
Amen, sir. Amen. So with that said, Herb, that's the 2 cents that I could give without having to, you know, have all these.
That's a whole $1 right there.
You know what I'm saying? But if you got a lot of resources, you can do a lot more. But without any resources, you could just make people smile, man. And that's just simple, you know?
Yeah. Happy birthday, Ready Rock. Happy birthday, Ready Rock. She says, exactly, Brian. That's an initiative we're pushing. It's called Block by Block. That's how you got to do that thing, man. And Ready Rock, we got to get you on the show, man. I've been trying to get Ready Rock on the show. I think she keep ducking me. I don't know. I think she don't want to come over here and curse you out. I think that's probably how it end up going.
Cussing me out?
Yeah. Now y'all usually be aligned because she be as militant and gangster as you be.
I'm not militant nor gangster.
Both of y'all are militant and gangster.
Man, let's do, please, man.
I don't know what he be on, man. I don't know what's happening with. I don't know what he.
You're not militant in the sense of true militancy, right? But the way you think is not the way that most people think, which means that you're militant, brother.
Right. You're radical. Just deal with it.
I'm with it. I just want to see us win, though, man. Same thing B is saying, though, and I agree with everything he said, man. So. You know, we just want to extend our hand too, brother. We love you too. We proud of you, and we want to help in any way that we can. Also, man, outside of just the Blueprint for Black Liberation magazine, the GIA Project book. What's the actual title of the GIA Project book?
It's called the GIA Project Portraits of Families.
The GIA Project Portraits of Families too. That's another, man. I want you all to go to Gorman House Publishing. And look into supporting B in any way possible, man. I'm sure the magazine is going to be dope, specifically since it has my Pulitzer Prize winning article in the first one. So you definitely need to have that one.
Jesus
but the GIA
Christ, you need to cut it out.
It's real. It's the real deal.
It's not even Tuesday.
I called B before I finished. That's like, G, we going all the way with this.
We going to the ship. We going to the ship. What is wrong, man? What is wrong?
But the GIA Project, that book itself is a beautiful book. It's like a coffee table book. Super dope, man. Gardis was in the comments saying he participated in it. I participated in it with my. Check this out. This is the only family photo I've ever had of my entire family, and it's super dope.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really the purpose of the book, man. You know, we was trying to create that smile. That's what we was talking about. You know, and when you go into people's house, especially, you know, black folks, you got that one family photo that's been there since everybody, like you was in 8th grade, but you still on that family photo. So I was like, how can we give that away to people? So we gave away free family photos.
B, check this out. This is an insider story, though, right? That day that you called us up there to take that photo, me and my old lady was at it. You understand me? I want to drop her off in the middle of Stony Island. We went in there and showed out for the carriage. People were like, these are beautiful. I was like, I want to punch in her throat.
Y'all in there looking like Ivanka Trump. Just
Yeah, that's hilarious too. That's actually
God.
That's funny.
In fact,
That's so funny.
That is life.
let me do this. You sure can't tell.
Check him out.
You sure can't tell, right?
Y'all look. I've seen those photos. Y'all look super happy in those.
I got the delayed reaction over here, but yeah,
I forgot. Right, I'm looking at them on live. Y'all see him in a second.
Fight. You know, it was a bad day. It was a horrible day, but we played it up for the cameras. It looked real good. It was like Barack and Michelle.
No, the photos turned out beautiful, man. She like she can actually stand you a little bit.
A little bit. It looked like she liked me a little bit.
That's funny. That is funny.
That was hilarious.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Yeah,
listen.
before I get out of here though, I do want to shout out not only I Said What I Said podcast, but What's in It for the Black People Media. You know, Maze, you guys are all over there doing an excellent job. So, you know, even though y'all don't see me as much as I should because I'm out here moving, I support y'all wholeheartedly. Whatever the hell y'all need, just call the kid. I got you for sure.
We never have hesitated to call you when we need you, and we never will, sir. You have never failed to come through with whatever it is that we've ever needed, and a whole bunch of stuff we never even knew we needed. So thank you so much for being you. Thank you so much for being a brother. Thank you so much for being a leader and a pillar in the community. We absolutely love you. Keep doing what you are doing, brother. We look forward to the magazine coming out February 14th, and people can go to gormanhousepublishing.com to submit pieces, and that is also where they'll be able to find them when they are available, in addition to other places around the city. So thanks so much, Brian. We appreciate you, my brother.
Thank you, family. Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure.
Salute.
He is one of a kind, man. He is one of a kind.
Definitely a good brother, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Brother, we need a lot more like him. You know?
Yeah, if we had a whole team of him, we'd be straight. We'd take over this thing tomorrow.
But that's what's necessary, right? It's not even just him too. It's us. Like, this is our peer group. We ain't reaching out far. It's just a commitment.
No, these is our people. Like, you know what I'm saying?
It's a commitment to the community.
That's the community we build. You know what I'm saying? That's the community you just build. And it's like, just get to work with the people that's in your thing. And so, Ready Rock, do we got somebody booked for Monday?
Oh, we was talking about that the other day. I think we might. I'm not sure.
All right, what about,
I didn't do it specifically, but I think we had a conversation about it. I don't know.
All right, cool. I do remember that. I kind of thought so. That's why I asked you. Tuesday, Ready Rock. What about Tuesday?
If she can come Monday, we don't know who it is. We going with whatever, man. I'm with whatever.
Ready Rock Monday or Tuesday? Which one you want to come on the show? Because we need to get Ready Rock on the show. And she said I didn't follow through, which might be true because, you know, maybe sometimes I do that.
That sounds kind of herbish.
Also, speaking of that, Monday is bad. Okay, what about Tuesday?
Hey, did you see Beulah today on?
Yes, that's what I was about to say. Also, speaking of that, Beulah was on Parenting in a Pandemic with Tennille Jackson today. And right at the end of the show, Tennille was like, "Oh, I'm so glad that I got you on first. I'm the first show on What's in It for the Black People Media to get you on." And I was like, "True," and salute. But then I was a little touched. I felt the way about it.
It was supposed to pan out like that, right? Because I didn't watch no show today on What's in It for the Black People, and I tuned in to Tennille's, and I never tune into midday shows.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm interested in what Beulah got to talk about.
Yeah.
You know, so I stayed and listened for a little while. She said her kid is doing Japanese, so I felt like I was a unfit parent. My children barely know English, and it was just making me feel bad about myself.
It was a very dope interview. Y'all definitely make sure y'all check it out. Parenting in the Pandemic with Tennille Jackson. Beulah was on there today, and they had a dope conversation about parenting in the pandemic. They touched on school and remote learning and hybrid learning and opening up schools, and they talked about a bunch of different stuff, man. It was really, really dope conversation. And so I hit Beulah. I said, "Look at you." I said, "First of all, great interview, fire, learned a lot. I feel a way about you popping on that show first." She's like, "Well," I was like, "Cause I've been asking you to come on our show for a long time." And she's like, "You did?" I say, "I asked you to come on a long time ago." She's like, "You did, but you never followed up." So maybe I did that twice.
See, that's the difference between a man and a woman, right?
Right.
Once I say it, it's in stone. We ain't got to talk
we
about
good.
this.
Like,
we got to talk about this no more.
I told you we going to the thing next week.
This is good.
We're going.
We good.
That's
all. We don't need to talk about this no more.
They don't understand.
Why do we have to have another
They
conversation?
don't understand. They need details. What time? What are we wearing? Where are we going? Which road are we taking? I don't know which road we're taking. We're going.
It ain't that difficult. Friday we'll be there. That's it. It's gonna be
Christ,
there. No
Latter-day
other conversation.
Saints, ladies, give us a break.
Yeah, man. That's definitely the difference.
Anybody out there know what a colander is?
What?
I think it's called a colander.
It's a literate person trying to say the word calendar.
Right. But I'm not speaking of calendar. This is another man versus woman conversation I had today about a colander. I think that's what it's called.
I'm not hip.
I wasn't hip either until this morning. And then I found out what a colander was.
Okay, what is it?
It's the damn little strainer bowl. The bowl that you like strain pasta in.
Yeah, see, I grew up impoverished, so what we do is we put a plate over the pan. I've never seen one of them in my life.
I was like, a colander? And I'm like, no, you mean the little strainer bowl thingy majiggy bob. Like, what are you, a colander?
Steve grew up in that good middle class household. He knew exactly what it is. Go ahead, Steve.
Okay,
yeah.
Steve.
So
it's a cooking utensil, a strainer.
We just say, get the plate.
Right. Get the plate. I've always said, get the little strainer bowl. Get the strainer bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Like, or whatever color you say, get the blue strainer bowl, get the red strainer bowl. Like, not a colander. Miss me with that.
I could care less. Yeah,
it's unbelievable. It's just the differences between men and women and Steve. He's the only person who knows that. Like ain't another dude in this planet who knows. Get your culinary skills up. I hear you. I respect it and salute it, but I could have gone my entire life not knowing it. And then once we have this conversation, she's telling me like, how do you you need to know that. No, I don't.
No, plates work just fine.
I'm
Trust
35
me,
years old.
45 years.
Okay, I'm good. I do not need to know that.
I got so good with ramens, I don't even have to strain them. I can just pull them right out the water.
I can pull them out the water. You put cheese on yours?
No, I'm not that proud. We wasn't that poor. There's levels to this.
So you just do the seasoning packet and that's it?
No, true story. This is
not even hot sauce?
This is a true story.
Uh-huh.
Right? This is what I mean by.
Do you be lying to me sometimes in here?
True story starting about the scratch.
Because you say a lot of stuff about true stories.
Listen. I never tasted ramen until I was grown.
No, that's probably no, I don't know. I don't know how old I was.
Never tasted it. When I got to college, people were like, you don't eat ramen? I was like, what is that? Never heard of it. We wasn't that poor, fam.
No, I was a poor little rich kid. That's what my mom used to call us, poor little rich kids. She's like, y'all poor little rich kids. And she ain't lying. Like, I remember for like one stretch, we lived in East Hazelcrest for like a year, right?
East Hazelcrest. Never heard of that one.
It didn't matter. It's Hazelcrest, whatever. We lived in East Hazelcrest for like a year. It was like 174th and Halsted, right? It used to be like a big Kmart there. Now it's, same type of stuff over there. But anyway, we lived out there literally for a year. And I think it was the year my brother might have been in like 8th grade or 7th grade. Either way, neither one of us wanted to go to the school that was down the street. It's a little school called Lincoln down the street, like one building, one floor, about this big. I went to Bryn Mawr, St. 3rd and Jeffrey. It's 4 buildings. We're not going there, right? Mm-hmm. So we would leave, right? We would leave every day. And first of all, we would get from 170.
Real
quick.
Ahead. Beulah, the 10-cent ramen. I don't know the other kinds of ramen.
Which type of ramen?
Yeah, it's other real ramen.
There
is
are
excellent.
levels.
Well, the 10-cent ramen is excellent as well.
Listen, hey, listen. We know who Beulah is, right? She berated me for drinking Douce.
Yeah,
right? You can't drink that gasoline urine. Like
she's upper echelon. She's carte blanche.
Hey,
you know what I mean?
Hey,
Class A.
Hey. I don't even know what that means. But anyway, we would leave from East Hazelcrest, and we would get from 174th and Halsted to 73rd and Jeffrey. No cap, like 12 minutes. Gee. Unbelievable. In rush hour, in a little white Chevy Cavalier. Okay, this Cavalier had the top out at about 73, right? Before it started like shaking. My mom would have that joint shaking every morning. But I'm telling you, on the Polar Rich Kid side.
But both of y'all, your mama and you, drive insane.
I learned from my mother.
Yeah, y'all insane.
I'm telling you, ride with Lorianne Howard.
I've been in there.
It's unbelievable. Crazy. And what's crazy about that? She'll get in the car with me now and she'll be like, you need to slow down. I'm like, are you serious? This lady thought she was Dale Earnhardt when I was growing up. But Polar Rich Kid story was every morning on that drive from East Hazelcrest to South Shore, me and my brother would eat a steak and egg sandwich. Like an actual dog. She would wake up, she would make these steak and egg sandwiches, and we would sit in the car and hope we don't die and eat the steak and egg sandwich every single morning with our little po' butts.
Yeah, y'all was privileged.
Polar Rich Kids, man.
I wasn't that kind of privileged. I didn't know what ramen was, but I wasn't steak and egg privileged either.
Polar Rich Kids.
True story. I think I was like 18 when I tasted steak.
Yeah, I don't know. I was in like 4th grade, riding in the back seat of a
My mama
Cadillac.
could cook. She was just creative with it. We didn't have traditional meals. That did happen. Nah, some weird looking stuff, but it always tastes great.
We to be around us. I didn't know I was you. Like you talk about you didn't have steak or you didn't have ramen until you was 18. I didn't know I was poor until then. Like I believed that we had. I believed that we had bread. I don't know why I believed that. Just my mom, and it was me, Ron, Matt, Diop, Darius, Danielle. Sometimes like it was.
Africa said our sister abused her 3 times, and she took a sip of her drink, and it was a glass that was $58.
Wait, what happened?
Beulah must have had a drink. There was a $58 drink at some place they was at.
Yeah, Beulah.
You.
No, I'm saying Beulah. This is what I've come to expect from her.
Yeah, I can't go.
Yeah, nah.
I remember I was somewhere with them fake class restaurants. I was a young cat. Met this chick. I was like, man, I'm gonna buy a drink. I went to go buy a drink. He came back with that tab. I said, no, you can just put that back. Just put that back.
I told Beulah, listen, man. Look, cause I told you we'd be hanging out at the J Illa joints, and I said, listen, we got to go catch up, grab some drinks. But thinking of not considering who she is, what I really meant is we got to go to the liquor store and then go somewhere and drink the bottle. I'm not going to drink with this lady. She gonna have us at the signature room drinking. Who knows what the hell? You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody got time for that. Gonna have us taking shots of XO at the top of the signature room. Nobody has time for that.
Ain't nobody.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Well, we are doing a second break. We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we'll hop into some more of the conversation. No, let's. We got Uncle Walt coming at 5. Either way, we're gonna take a break right now. This is I Said What I Said. My name is Herb. His name is 2. We'll be right back.
Come all the way with me. Don't leave me now.
Church Chicago's Power Hour. I'm your host, Angie Mims, and
Terrence Keys, TD, a.k.a. Terrence Daniels.
Do you believe that God's going to turn it around?
I got to.
Why?
Why? Because he's did it before.
Come on.
And he'll do it again.
Yes.
You can do it again.
Yes. Come on here.
Come on, I better leave that alone.
Somebody calling you right now.
Somebody calling you right now, Lord. If it ain't one thing, I better go. God's going to turn it around.
And I feel like we have to encourage the people because so many people are just truly depressed. They're going through the holiday blues, and we want you to know that you don't have to be discouraged. But you can, in fact, be encouraged because God's going to turn it around.
God's turn it around. It's me again. God's going to turn it around. I'm calling on you. You did it before.
Shout out to the Bigs. They just wrapped up another edition of On the Soil. They talked to Eric Davis. I didn't know that brother was like all that cold.
I didn't either.
You know, Gino is the baseball expert, right? So whatever he say, that's how I'm rolling. So just hearing how he's been talking about him since they actually scheduled that interview made me like look like how cold was this dude? It's legit.
Shout out to Don for the guest look.
Yeah, Don is the deal.
Guest look is outrageous.
Don is the plug.
Fellas, I'm ready to get up and do my thing.
She is the plug.
Don is dead at the plug.
Gino and Mace. Why are we being left out over here?
Well, that's not really true.
Okay, well, break it down for me.
Oh, a wise guy, eh?
What'd she do? She set us up with Scoop.
Okay.
I've had Scoop's number for a while.
Salute.
But even like I'm associated to it, Don is like, boom. You know what I'm saying? So I be like, hey, let's get you on the show sometime. I'm like, yeah, let's set it up. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about it. We'll do. Don like, hey, yo, I need you on the show tomorrow. Like, okay.
Sit your $5 down before I make change.
Like, it's different with the big little sis, man.
The last of the Gambinos or something.
For real. She about that action. So shout out to Don, man. Shout out to the book of Don.
WIFTBPN. You are tuned in to Minding Our Black-Owned Business.
We have now one team.
You and Michael talked about some key stuff. Basically, the project needed insurance. I'm now in the space of commercial real estate and trying to understand what that looks like. And so I have a wonderful, normal insurance person that, when I'm doing events and stuff, that covers it. Yep. But what happened is when you have commercial real estate, there's different insurance you need. And when you're getting a loan, my bank wanted 133% of the actual loan project covered, right? And this number was high in the six figures. We got the quotes from bigger companies like the State Farms and the Countryside and all of them. That's who they were with. Mm-hmm. I was getting back prices like between $11,000 and $15,000 for like a 6-month policy, for a construction policy. And we got to eat this ridiculous amount of money. And mind you, it's COVID. My company, there's no money coming in. Everything was stopped. I'm like, we got to do it. We got to get this insurance. Michael did that post. And with me, I'm always trying to support not just Black, but my own. If I know you, it's a trust thing, right? Yep. So I immediately, as soon as I sent that post, I text Mike. I'm like, dude, can you do this? And it was like a Saturday night. He hit Junior. Really? I'm like, oh, give that contract right now, Junior. We good. And I mean, literally, I didn't know that because we're so used to hearing brands doing insurance. What I've learned during COVID is to stop and really read. I love the pictures and everything, but when you start to read the context, like people be like, when Michael or people are putting stuff and they're saying, are you really reading? Right. Or are you just going along with everybody saying congratulations and filtering the first thing that pops up that Facebook wants you to say? And Michael has coached me in so many things that literally saved me money. And I wanted people to know, especially when you're getting into commercial mixed use, if it's property, you need someone with insurance. My insurance person told us, she says, it's best to go through someone like Michael, but people don't know those companies exist because what happens is they would actually solicit Michael for pricing. Then Michael would give them a price. Then Country Time put their pricing on it. And then the agent has to put their prices on it. And that's why you get triple the cost. Right. Everybody's hand is in it because they're reaching out to brokers.
WIFTDPM.
Yo.
Boy, you niggas talk too much. Fuck that chitter chatter. If a nigga snake me, I'ma turn his ass to Casper. You been trapping all your life, still broke, you hustling backwards. If my bitch give you eye contact, then you can have her. Turn her to my old hoe, so I'll be looking past her. Don't mind me, I just keep it church like a pastor. You couldn't even imagine what it took to get it here. Ay, I just ran through 100,000 last year. Ay, keep that on the hush. Don't tell my baby mama's child support it hunt me like I know what you did last summer. Ay, real niggas weird, think these niggas bitches color pink. They probably somewhere washing they pussy in a fucking sink. Let that sink in. I put that on the fan. If a nigga cross me, they won't cross nobody again. Ay, many men they hate me, but they bitches wanna date me. Ay, baby, I've been going crazy. I've been on one lately, smoking presidential Ronald Reagan. I don't do nothing basic. Ay, report live from the basement, ballin' like a pacer. Ay, I'm getting that fast money in the fast lane like a racer. Ay, got a Glock with a 50 clip, it erase all your data. Ay, headshot or leave a fuck nigga on the pavement. Ay, his mama better pray for him. They hope the ambulance save him. Ay, will he live or will he die? His lifeline on the maybe. Ay, that's what he get for fucking with me. This shit real, that's on baby. Ay, this shit get tragic. These niggas don't want no smoke. No, they don't want static. David Blaine shots from this Glock, it work magic. If I let this bitch fly, you'll disappear, you vanish. Poof, be gone, ay. Poof, be gone, ay. Poof, be gone, ay. If I let them shots fly, you will disappear like magic. Boy, them niggas fuck, niggas, they don't want no static. Fucking with me round this bitch, this shit'll get tragic.
Slide with me, I'm riding. We try for that gold medallion. Pass the drip, I'm drowning. Dad too far, that money pile, but she be silent. When she see how much the pockets crowded, we be filing through them blue notes. Who want product? He a client. He just posing with that pose, too dramatic. He want drama, we won't conversate about it. That Uzi clear the mileage. Let me keep it real, I ain't got no bodies. But for that fam, bitch, I'm catching charges. No need for them niggas to budge. I'm already in his closet. Post post up on the mound. I'm a pirate, he a dodger. Fastball at his face, he a race, not playing tomorrow. The shooter and the driver, one man gang, I'm on the island. Try that with Honda, you gon' get more than a couple patches. Town bitch, we ratchet, get up with me for the bashes. Nigga, they couldn't imagine, through the mud, we too savage. Used to sleep out of roaches, live out of poaches, shit was tragic. Breaking down them bundles, moving thunder, town with me, this shit get tragic.
We trapping hard in here tonight. I'm gonna go move some bricks. You ever ride in your car and just feel like you got a trunk full? Like you throw on a certain track and you instantly feel like a trapper. What is he talking about? Yo, Reese, keep that on Week Hoe Wednesday. Okay? We don't got nothing to do with you and your nightgowns, man. We not on that. What's wrong with it, man, G? Anyway, man, this is I Say What I Say. My name is Herb. His name is Tu. Appreciate y'all for rocking with us. Appreciate all y'all.
Ty Stroger's in the comments hating on our music.
Hey, Ty, I want to hear you rap over that beat. That'd be good. Just hit Ty rapping over the beat. Hey, Todd, I heard that I was I may or may not have had a joke or two about your hair.
May or may not.
He came on the show. He said, ain't Herb like 12 years old? But come back or not, I noticed you were clean shaven this week. So, message received. Winning. Oh, I should have had Flo up in the screen right there, man. That was funny. Anyhow, I'm laughing at all. What's up?
G. Renee says, senior alert.
Senior alert. Cut the cursor. Put the cuss job away.
He's in here doing research for I Say
Is
What I
Whisper
Said for
Seniors.
elders.
God, that's funny, man. Uncle Todd, you're welcome to hang out, man. You know what I'm saying? Let us know if you need like some tea or something more. At least, but you're going to have to roll your socks down if you're going to be in here. You can't be in here shorts and socks high up like that. Roll your socks down if you're going to be in here.
Rocking the black dress shoes with the
socks. Yeah. We ain't gonna be on that, Uncle Todd, if you're going to be up in here now. Shout out to all of the bougie Is Wiz gang members because they like, I can't hang with y'all, man. I can't keep up with y'all, man. Y'all too rich for me. So y'all go out, y'all get y'all $1,000 tab on y'all drinks, and then hit me up later. And then y'all can come through for the after party. I got the perfect spot for that.
Rocking at the Soho.
Yeah, I got the perfect spot. We can all chill after the spot, but I'm not hanging out with y'all, man. Y'all crazy.
Yeah, you know, it is what it is.
Ready Rock and Bueller, they all of them. RO Double had me living outside somewhere. Nobody got time to be hanging out with y'all. But I appreciate y'all hanging out today, as always.
Ready Rock said, I'm lying about something I've had when I don't know what that's in context to.
Mm-hmm.
I try my best to be honest up here. I don't understand.
You probably had something. Who knows? Mm-hmm. She'll tell you though.
I'm sure.
She'll definitely tell you what's on her mind. We are awaiting the arrival of Uncle Walter Beach. He's going to be hanging out with us at 5 o'clock. We're expecting to hang out with him. Looking forward to spending some time with him. He just celebrated his 88th birthday. We want to give him some love and some flowers while that is going on. I set the over-under at 30% of his face for how much we'll be able to see in the interview. Colander, right, the Colander. Y'all some uppity folks. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what y'all be on with this Colander and all y'all Candace. Y'all different, man.
It might be one that drew. I don't know. My wife might have got one. I don't know. But I use the plate.
Oh, the Colander. Oh, yeah, you've had to have. You got one at home, bro.
I use the plate. I'm just telling you what I do.
Mama named Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay.
Clay.
You've used the Colander, man. I just didn't know what it was called. It was just the strainer bowl. Like I'll never say, yeah, whatever. But definitely looking forward to chopping it up with Uncle Walt today. There was a clip or a documentary piece that you had mentioned too. What's up with that?
Yeah, man, he sent me this video on YouTube, and it's kind of long. It's like 19 minutes long, so I don't know if we're going to play the whole thing, but it's around the Ali Summit. And, you know, if you don't know, Beach at one time was a professional football player. So Beach is 88 years old, just turned 88 years old the other day, like a couple days ago. But he played cornerback for the Cleveland Browns in the era with Jim Brown and the Ali Summit that you always see the picture of, where you got Jim Brown, you got who else is in that picture, man? Bunch of heavyweights. Kareem is in the picture.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, Bill Russell.
Everybody's in that picture, and the picture gets a lot of acclaim.
Uncle Walt is popping into the show, so we'll bring him in here in a second. He's getting his production set up. So I'm wrong on the 30%.
Yeah.
He's
got a team now.
He got the whole squad on there.
That's Auntie Gail hooking him up.
Yeah, I see. Auntie Gail is on the job, making sure Uncle Walt is gonna be in here in his full glory today. So looking forward to that. But go ahead with your piece about the documentary.
But we see the picture all the time, right? The picture's iconic. You know what I mean? But very few people know what the actual event was. You know, and what it was the Ali Summit, and it was about Ali going to Vietnam. You know, and his desire not to go.
Right.
You know what I mean? And in the documentary, the little clip, it explains like that time in a different way. So you think about this with professional athletes, and there was a clip in there where all of the football guys was like, we had already served. Like, we would go play football, and then in the summers we would go to war. Like, it was a normal thing. Mm-hmm. It was like almost like an expectation. And Ali was standing behind the Muslim faith saying, you know, hey, I'm not with this. You know, no Viet Cong has ever called me nigga.
That's
I'm not
y'all
with it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's interesting to hear the conversation from a perspective of people who were actually there.
Yes, sir.
You know, so he had sent me this clip, and it wasn't, like I said, he sent me this video. It's not a clip. It's a whole 19-minute video intro of the whole documentary. And I just thought it was something that, you know, we could bring to the airwaves and talk about. So, you know, we can bring Beach in, or we could kind of run with the clip while they get set up. What you want to do?
Well, Uncle Walt looks ready to roll, so let's go ahead and pop him in right quick, and then we can still get to the clip at some point during the conversation. But while he is set up and ready to roll, let's go ahead and pop him on to the show. There he is. Uncle Walt, what's going on, sir? How are you?
I'm fine. How you guys doing, man?
Beach, what's up?
Yeah, I'm all right. You know why I love this program?
Why is that, sir?
Because first of all, I love two black gentlemen who are proud to be who they are. And secondly, I said what I said. That's a form to me of personal sovereignty. Look, man, this is what I said. It's what I mean. I ain't got to apologize, and I ain't got to hide.
Period.
It's our version.
I like
Can you beat my ass though?
Right.
Well, but that's always the bottom line.
Oh,
the bottom line, the bottom line is what you gonna do.
That's true.
See, all the rhetoric is, and all the aspect of discussion is about I'm gonna do this, or I'll believe this. But what are you gonna do when it's time to do? When you bump and run, that's what it's on. I know I shared that with you one time, Tucson. I played against a brother, y'all might not know him, Art Powell.
I do.
He's one of the top receivers in the National Football League at one time. BEACH.
Oh, wow.
It's all right. It's all right. I just looked up there and saw it. But anyway,
I'm tripping.
I talk a whole lot of stuff to him. I said, man, you ain't gonna catch nothing. And all day we were struggling. Every time he went to catch up, I'd knock it down or he'd drop it or something. I said, I told you wasn't gonna catch nothing, man. So you might as well go on home. And in the last minute of the game, he ran what they call a false shake. That's just the term, but it was a quick move.
Yes, sir.
And he caught it tiptoeing into the end zone. And as I was reaching for him, after he'd caught it, he threw the ball back to me and said, "Hey, Beach, you be a good boy now, won't you?" See, so it's not over until it's over.
That's real.
That's real.
Yeah, and when that's what it is, man. It's it's man to man. You kill my dog, I kill your cat.
Yes, sir.
That's real.
Unwritten laws of
Beach, you getting requests in the comments, man. They want to hear you introduce yourself the way you always introduce yourself. When you said,
you got a little fan club that is watching what I say and do, huh?
Hey, your fans, man, they ain't here for me. They here for you.
Okay, I'll read the stuff the way I always introduce myself. Who am I? I'm Black in attitude. I'm Black in behavior. I'm African in belief and thought. And I'm African in spirit. I have accepted and acknowledged the fact of myself being intuitively and have developed the cognitive strength to function as a Black man in America. And as a Black African man in America, my hypocrisy manifests itself in silent rage. I must decide what my relationship to racism will be. Only I can say when and where I enter my manhood, with quiet, undisputed dignity, without violence or special patronage. I ask no quarters, and I give no quarters.
That's my part right there.
When I enter and where I enter, I take with me my people. That's my my little catechism or mantra for me. And fortunately, man, I got 3 sons who express that. I got 2 grandsons who express that. And Justin, one of my grandsons, he's got 7 sons.
Wow.
And they express that.
Mm-hmm.
So
that is
that's
the greatest introduction I've ever heard. And it is absolutely how you want to enter any space, especially as a Black man. My favorite part of the introduction is asking no quarters and giving no quarters. I ain't asking you to spare me nothing, and I definitely ain't gonna spare you nothing. So
that's right.
Bring it.
No, that's that what 2 Stunner, that's that bump and run, man.
Mm-hmm.
I got as much right on this planet as you have. And I'm not going to give up anything on your behalf, because I know you're not going to give up anything on mine. So it's just what it is what it is.
Period.
Beach, we're going to take a couple minutes, and we're going to play some of the documentary, the link you sent me. And then when we come back, we're gonna talk through it.
Okay.
All right, cool. You got me?
I don't have you over here at all, sir.
You should have me now. Flo, you got me in there?
Now we are good over on this side, sir.
All right. And the name of the documentary is United We Stand. It's the Muhammad Ali Summit. That's right.
Athletes like them who in their time have had influence or would have been in a position to have influenced people, their own people and this sort of thing, about their attitude, which is certainly slightly more moderate rather than yours.
Right now, black people, when you show this show, are home jumping, home shouting, because they don't have the nerve to say what I'm saying, and nobody has never said it, and they're just so happy to see a black man who will stand up and jeopardize every quarter he's got to tell the truth. But when one man of popularity can let the world know the problem, he might lose a few dollars himself telling the truth, might lose his life, but he's helping millions.
I'm going to continue to stand with the people that are being oppressed.
Don't touch the came over. Not touch it.
It's time to look in the mirror and ask ourselves, what are we doing to create change?
To understand today, you've got to understand what happened yesterday. And there's one particular story from half a century ago that shouldn't be forgotten. It's known today as the Ali Summit. And it's remembered, for as much as anything else, a single image of some of the most famous athletes in the world back then. Side by side, united. The 1960s are often looked upon as the original decade of turmoil in modern America. You had Vietnam, the Civil Rights Movement. Black people were fighting for their own basic human rights. And that included a young boxer from Kentucky by the name of Cassius Clay.
Won the Olympic gold medal in Rome, Italy. Olympic champion, the Russian standing right here, and the Pole right here. I'm defeating America's so-called threats or enemies. And the flag is going, dun, 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 dun. And I done whooped the world for America. I took my gold medal, thought I'd invented something. I said, man, I know I'm gonna get my people freedom there. I'm the champion of the whole world, the Olympic champion. I know I can eat downtown now. And I went downtown that day, had my big old medal on and went to restaurants. At that time, black things wasn't integrated. The black folks couldn't eat downtown. The lady said, we don't serve Negroes. And I had to leave that restaurant in my hometown where I went to church and served in their Christianity and fought, and daddy fought in all the wars, just wanted to gold medal and couldn't eat downtown. I said, something's wrong.
For me, one of the more difficult aspects of our struggle is racism and white supremacy was created and constructed by white people. So if they constructed it, they're the only one that can deconstruct it.
Black people in this country have been the victims of violence at the hands of the white man for 400 years.
We will define black power. He will listen and recognize it. That's all.
Had so many different black organizations, and they all had a different approach to freedom, equality, and justice.
In the South, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, among others, practiced nonviolence. While out west, the Black Panthers took a more assertive stance, as too back its adherents, the young boxer who now went by the name Muhammad Ali. Black athletes all across the country were sizing up the different messages of all these groups, looking toward a path to equality.
You had Malcolm, you had the Nation of Islam,
Huey Newton and the Panthers, and the programs, they said when they walked the streets with guns like the police did.
Revolution has come. Off the bed. Time to pick up the gun. Off the bed. Revolution has come. Off the bed. Time to pick up the gun.
In America, black people are treated very much as the Vietnamese people. The police in our community occupy our area, our community, as a foreign troop occupies territory.
if you were the black star of a team, you had to be very careful in how you represented yourself.
Period. The Browns' Jimmy Brown blasted his way right down the middle with a sensational scoring run.
You had to use your power, and you had to help those who were lesser from the standpoint of their football status. And it was a great responsibility because, you know, you had to decide when to speak up and when not to.
And I remember having this discussion with Dr. King. I told him, I said, Dr. King, I cannot march with you. As much as I respect and love you and what you're doing is magnificent, I will hurt the cause if I marched. I told him, I said, Dr. King, so what we'll do is we will help you to form an economic base.
I decided that economic development was really the way to go. And because athletes generated so much capital, I knew that that would be a way to be able to make changes and bring our black athletes together.
The Ford Foundation gave us $1 million grant to show how we could work within the communities of the inner city and create and build an economic base so that people would have their own businesses.
Our motto was produce, achieve, and prosper. And so our concentration was not a matter of integration, it was our equal rights and our ability to understand how to create a power base by dealing with economics and dealing with education.
Well, I heard about it when I first got to the Browns. Jim Brown, John Wooten, they would be talking about the Black Economic Union.
We had Ivy League individuals that had the kind of expertise that would go with the notoriety of the black athletes and the money that athletes could raise.
So a lot of the shops that the Muslim brothers set up, we were loaning them money for it.
The mixed situation in the country was complicated because there were a lot of black people that didn't like the black Muslims. One of the most dramatic things that Ali did And one of the most controversial things that he did was declare himself a black Muslim, a follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That was like the kiss of death.
Yes, I was going to ask you, in fact, what attracted you to the
The truth, the teachings of Elijah Muhammad on how black people's been brainwashed, how we've been robbed of our names in slavery, we were robbed of our culture, we were robbed of our true history, so it left us a walking dead man.
See, once you get a lot of notoriety in this particular country and people start thinking highly of you, then there's a whole aspect of what can you do to influence other people.
Being a great heavyweight fighter had tremendous influence, not only on black people, but it had an influence on white people also. And the government didn't have an answer for that clear in their particular approach to him. He was a tremendous threat. And one of his quotes was, the Viet Cong, they never called me nigger.
Viet Cong are not all bad, but America's still dropping bombs. In Hiroshima, Japan wasn't bad, but she still dropped the bomb. In Korea, they weren't bad, but they still dropped the bomb.
I was part of the military, and I did what I was supposed to do for the military, but I wasn't gonna die voluntarily for the United States government. Man, I wasn't gonna kill myself. I'm gonna commit suicide for a country that segregated me on the train to send me over there.
In so many ways, the draft was an intersection between progressive America's resistance to the Vietnam War and the struggles of the Civil Rights Movement. If your number was called in the draft, you had to report for duty, regardless of how you felt about the war itself, or for that matter, how you felt about your country.
Mohammed, there's also a story out over this weekend that later this week your draft status will be announced again as 1A. Now, what's your reaction to that, and will you go into the Army in the ultimate if the government says you must?
I've just heard about it. I haven't really read about it yet. I've been so busy. But as I've said once, and I'll say it again, I think it'll be wise to face the government themselves and the Justice Department, because they're the ones who I'll have to see in the end. That's the law.
Jim calls me and he says, "Did you hear what happened?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I heard what happened." He's talking about Ali. He says, "You know the champ didn't step forward." I said, "You're right." He says, "We got to support him." I said, "No problems." He said, "Get the guys together."
I said, "John, you know, put it together. If we had a meeting with him and we got behind him, if he was right, and we felt that if we could stand up as a unit, and we believe what he said, and if he was a conscientious objector, Muslim minister, we would support him as a unit."
And on June 4th, 1967, in Cleveland, Ohio, it all came together. More than half a dozen NFL stars, plus two of basketball's biggest names, in Bill Russell and Lou Alcindor, all came together in Cleveland to meet with Ali and talk to him about his refusal to enter the military draft.
Muhammad Ali, as a young kid, did he really understand what he was doing? Jim and the guys thought they should at least talk to him and try to be sure if he knew exactly what he was doing.
This is the draft. This is not just an ordinary thing. You were drafted. All of us had served our military obligation.
We all would go and do our service in the off season. In other words, when we get through playing football, then we would go into the service. And then during the year, you know, you'd go on the weekends.
My take on it was that I had served, and all of the athletes, Joe Louis and people like that, all went to the service. And that's what my thinking was, that why get yourself caught up in this? You go and what you'll be doing, you'll still be doing what you like to do, because that's the way the military treated it. And then you'd come back home and continue your heavyweight fights.
For me to tell him that I believe that you should have gone to the military just because I went. That didn't mean that much to me.
But to him, it would be still going against his religion. And that was more important to him than anything else. Well, that kind of blew my mind, so I had to step back, because what he was saying now was so much stronger than me.
After having sit with him 3 to 4 hours or whatever it was, not sure of the time, and it was really like standing up and being counted in a real war. Ali knew he was going to lose money, knew he was going to lose the championship. He just knew that he had to stand on his principles.
Most people, when you take their livelihood, they'll make a U-turn on where they was going. But Muhammad Ali didn't make no U-turn. He said, over the dollars, man, I got principles. I'm a man, I'm gonna stand over the dollars.
I believe in the Holy Quran. It says, we who declare ourselves to be righteous Muslims do not take parts in no wars, no way, fashion, or form which take the lives of other humans unless it's a holy war declared by God himself. And I think anybody in his right mind, if he knew it was God calling him, he would fight for God.
Russell said, Champ, you have totally convinced me. He says, as a matter of fact, if you can get the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to just ease back on that rib and chop, I'll join y'all tomorrow.
When it was all over, he was still able to make a joke of it too, because he said, guys, the press is waiting on us. Press all over the place outside the door. He said, look, this is what we ought to do. We ought to all go out there and we tell the press that we believe in Muhammad Ali, thanks, and we're going to go into the service in his place.
I was about 12 going on 13 when the Ali Summit happened. And I remember how impressive it was to me, because these were the biggest guys in sports. I mean, you talk about Muhammad Ali and Jim Brown and Lou Alcindor. You couldn't get bigger than that.
The courage of these individuals, I look at them as courageous individuals who understood that they could be blackballed and so forth and so on.
There wasn't no risk for me because it didn't matter to me. I didn't value that role as a professional football player as much as I valued a role as a man supporting Ali. I knew I wasn't going to play football all of my life, but I do know that the rest of my life I had to be a man.
There were 11 of them altogether, flanking Ali on that monumental day in Cleveland. The champ was prepared to pay the biggest price. Stripped of his title belt, excommunicated from the sport he'd dedicated his life to. And there was also huge risk for the rest of the folks in that photograph. Consequences they would have to face themselves. All of these elements were part of the realities that they would spend their careers getting to know far too well.
I saw racism. I understood that it existed in the league, but I'm on an airplane with the Cleveland Browns going to Los Angeles to play the Los Angeles Rams, and the owner comes up to me and asks me what I'm reading. I said, I'm reading a book. What book you reading? I'm reading The Message to the Black Man by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He said, I don't want you to read that book. This is a man talking to another man, telling him what to read. So it's obvious to me that Mr. Modell thought he owned me. He didn't think I was a player on his team. He said, I own you, man. I tell you what to read.
It's just one big club with the owners. You know, they're just one big club. And back then, and one of them called the other one and said, well, hey, don't deal with him. You know, he's a troublemaker or whatever. And they use that. And that's what they used to use back then in the 60s.
I was blackballed because of my attitude. And when they put me on waivers, Atlantic Falcons claimed me off of waivers. Then the Browns withdrew the waiver. Said, no, we're gonna keep him. Then they put me on waivers again, and the Detroit Lions claimed me off of waivers. And then the Browns withdrew it. Said, no, we're gonna keep him. It's a form of blackballing.
The backlash was not going to be any worse than the discrimination that we were going through, and the fact that if we didn't stand up, nothing would happen. So basically, you had no choice. If you had any power, you had to use that power.
Yesterday and today, the connections are unavoidable. They're essential, really, considering the madness of modern times.
Policemen pull black people over and hit them across the head and unjustly try them in courts. And who went to jail? Nobody. It happens every day.
But what will stay with you is the power of that image. The image of coming together. The image of standing united.
Man, that's so dope. That's so dope. Did you hear with us?
Yeah, I'm here, man.
Walt, that is beyond dope. I stand and applaud in full honor and respect. I can't tell you how grateful, how appreciative I am of the sacrifice that you and all of those brothers made at that time in particular. And to compare and contrast that, I'm gonna sit back down just so I can talk into the mic. But when you compare and contrast that to the lack of willingness to do that today, now obviously we're talking about, unwillingness to do that today. I appreciate it, and I say thank you.
Well, Herb, let me say one thing. And I appreciate you and too. I guess the point that I was making, it wasn't a sacrifice for us. See, when you sacrifice something, it's predicated upon a value, right? You value this, then you sacrifice something else. But our value was that we were men. We were black, sovereign human beings.
Wow.
So as a black man, I wasn't sacrificing anything. I was just affirming who I was. And that's what that's what all of us were doing. So it's not a sacrifice. Like I said, my value was placed in me as a human being, and each of the guys' value. Now, I'm gonna say something now that maybe you'll get a little understanding. There's not a day that goes by that I don't receive some mail from what you call fans with my picture, and I sign them and send them back to the people. So I never charged anybody for my signature. I never charged. I just sent them back. And sometimes my daughter, she'll laugh. She said, "Daddy, why don't you just tell them to send you $5? You get all these things and you sign them." I said, "Well, I just sign them." And the point I wanted to make: every individual you saw in that picture, Jim called them, or Wooten on as Jim or Jim orchestrated it, called them and said, "Look, let's come." So Bill Russell comes from Washington, D.C., not D.C., Washington State. Willie Davis came from Milwaukee. Bobby Mitchell came from D.C. Kareem came from California. The point that I make: nobody asked for no pay. They didn't ask for you to pay their airfare. They didn't ask for no honorarium. And if you can get the present day athletes to commit and surrender some of their time without them getting paid, other than probably LeBron,
No, probably not other than him.
I mean, okay. Well, let me say, it may be an extreme exaggeration, but that's not the mentality of the group today. They're so pleased to be a professional football player or basketball player, as opposed to just being a decent, law-abiding, loving human being. With football, and it's my term, and I know two sides, I've heard it a lot. Football is what I did. That wasn't who I was. Football is what we did, or basketball. That wasn't who we were. Men. And that comes up. That comes out of a process of socialization. Ain't nowhere in the world I could have. Ain't nowhere in the world I could have put the book away and went back home and looked at my daddy.
Beach, I want to stay in this realm of conversation, man. I was taking a couple of notes while watching the film, and it's in alignment of what you was just stating a minute ago when you said that it wasn't a sacrifice because we were men, and in the movie you say, I was only going to be playing football for a certain amount of time. I was going to be a man all my life. And even just in this moment of watching that and listening to you speak, I had like a moment of clarity. And I say that because I've kind of taken for granted that I was raised in a village of all men like you, like my daddy, like my uncles, and they all kind of operate kind of under the same paradigm. And I kind of was, I was kind of raised in that same spirit. So I don't look at my movements as sacrificial at all either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is what the value asset is. But just in hearing you say that,
man,
it just resonated with me of how many people don't have that circle,
if I can
don't have that village, and don't see that as the value asset.
If I can just pause you for a second, man, I'm always having this conversation. I'm always talking about, the requirement of sacrifice. And so to hear Uncle Walt come back and say, nah, Herb, like, I hear you, but you're wrong on that piece. It shouldn't be a sacrifice. If your value asset is in the right spot, it ain't a sacrifice. It is what is required of you to stand as a man and do. And so, man, Uncle Walt, thanks for checking me on that and clearing that up for me. I will never include that term sacrifice as a requirement for what we must do if our value asset is in the right place. So I didn't mean to cut you off too, but when he was saying it was like tingling, like going through. Like, it was like, wow, like that's like crazy powerful. Like, no, it's not a sacrifice to walk away from the NBA or the NFL. Ain't nobody asking me. This is the thing. Like, this freedom and this liberation should be the value thing. And so I appreciate you for imparting that ideology on me.
Hey man, like too. Well, you're not. I don't have to tell you the story between me and two, and especially his dad.
Mm-hmm.
But and he made a point about talking about the men that I grew up with. So I grew up when my uncle James was a hunter and a fisherman, and he must have had 7 or 8 dogs on his property. And when I was a young boy, my father would take me over there, and they called my father Big Beach because my father was a big man, and they called me Little Beach. So my Uncle James would say to my father, say, Beach, and Daddy would say, yeah. He said, this boy's scared of dogs. I said, oh, no, Uncle James, I ain't scared of dogs. He said, all right, you stay out here with the dog. Me and your dad's going in the house. And I said, and they leave. He said, where are you going? I said, I'm going in the house. He said, I told you you scared of dogs, boy. He said, but that was one of my first lessons. Don't be afraid of anything. Don't have no fear. Now, I know this is going to offend some people. He said, don't have no fear. You don't have to be afraid. He said, when you're scared, join church.
That's real. Fear is a prison, man.
That's real.
I say that all the time. Fear is a prison. You know what I mean? And we got to be able to walk beyond those prisons. That's really what sovereignty looks like. Mm-hmm. That's really what sovereignty looks like. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Fear is a prison. There's another part of that film where Stokely said, we will define black power and they will listen, and that is all. Mm-hmm. That's why I love Stokely, right? Stokely stood in that masculine energy, right? And in a lot of ways, he brought King along to see the understanding of what black power really looked like in a lot of ways. You know, also Stokely could be credited for starting the Black Panther movement. It really wasn't Huey and Bobby, it was Stokely. You know, but it's that mindset that we gonna stand on this, and what you gonna do about it? It's can you whoop my ass though in just different language.
That's real.
You know?
Yeah, I responded to something today, man, on Facebook. There are the pictures of the deacons of defense. Now y'all know what the deacons were.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
And the deacons and they had the pictures saying these are these are the deacons for defense. And they all had their guns, And the guy and the caption asked, well, what do you think about it? I said, well, I said, they have their guns. I said, but from the Art of War by Sun Tzu, it's not the guns. He said, it's the mindset.
That's real.
Do Mahatma Gandhi was known for what? Nonviolence. If you read Mahatma Gandhi's life story in India, when he put together the march for the march on salt for the tax march, Mahatma Gandhi in his earlier years made this statement. He said, "I wish my people had the skill and the will to kill, but since they don't, we'll have a nonviolent protest." See, if you see, like I said, he said the will and skill to deal with it. If you don't have the will and skill to deal with it, then there are other ways that you must deal with it. Sharing something else with you, because I was in the military. There's a situation that may be under some security acknowledgement. It's called, the code word for it is OTW.
Okay.
OTW. So when the United States are not at war, they got whatever the strategy is. If it's OTW, that means other than war.
Okay.
See, we're doing this other than going to war, but we're gonna get the results that we would get out of war. But if we can get it other than going to war, see, I mean, it's the society or the country, and the United States ain't the only nation that functions like this. The people right now today, as I look on television, there are people upset about the violence in the White House and about the riots, man.
Uncle Wall, let me ask you this. How do you feel about war in terms of it not being, what we traditionally see when you talk about the bombs and the missiles and the rockets and the boots on the ground, but all these other war tactics that they use? Is that still, when they say other than war, I think they're talking about like the guns and stuff, but are they still using war tactics against their enemies anyway?
Certainly to maintain their power and control. The maintenance of power and control is not necessary all the time to go to war. I spent some time in Tai Chi and as a martial artist. And if you understand even the formality of a martial artist, or when you see in your kung fu movies or anything, when they put their hands together and bow.
Yes, sir.
They put their hands together, they bow. They say, "I do not choose to fight. I do not choose to fight. But if you so desire, these are my weapons." That's what the bow in means. I don't want to fight, man.
I want to interject for a minute, Beach. So
Certainly.
even when you mention that acronym, the other than war acronym, right? And then you reference the Sun Tzu book too. What's interesting to me is when I think about the United States Army using that acronym other than war, right? It really standardizes
war. War is first.
War is first.
That's the first response.
War is first. Right? And if we fail there, then we're going to try these other strategies and other tactics. And I was talking earlier about being in our proper polarity as men, right? And I think that because we've kind of been assimilated into this idea of fear, even in the conversation about sacrifice, right? It's only a sacrifice because that is in which you value, right? And it goes back to what B said the last time he was on air. You cannot revolt against that in which you value.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But war is the value asset of the construct of the country.
Standard operating procedure.
It is the standard operating procedure, right? And we have a victim mentality. Right? It's just interesting to hear that. And I talk about war all the time, and it's not just in regards to it is physical, but it ain't just physical. Even if you go back to the Sun Tzu book, right? The book specifically mentions the best war is one where you don't got to throw one punch.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the war. Those are the tactics, the war tactics they've been using against us since it was, I would say, unpopular to just whoop on our ass, right? So that was the first thing, right? We're gonna whoop on y'all, right? But okay, if we're gonna do something other than war, okay, cool. Then we'll do redlining. We'll do unjust legislation.
It's another war tactic.
It's just another war tactic. You know what I'm saying? And so okay, it's not in or it's frowned upon for us to smack y'all up and down the street in broad daylight. Cool. We'll underserve your schools. We'll make sure your communities are impoverished and everything else and over-policed and all the rest of it. Like, We're gonna get you.
And it's not a difficult construct to understand, right? The bully don't stop whooping on you because he's tired. You got to stand up to the bully. That's just what it is, right? Asking no quarters and giving none. That's just what it is. I just thought that was interesting to hear that other than Ward moniker, you know?
Yeah, for real.
I thought that was interesting.
Uncle Walt, I got to tell you, man, everybody who rocks with us on this show absolutely loves every time you're on. And as Tu and I do, they hang on every word you got to say. And there's a level of respect and reverence going through the comments right now that I couldn't even read them all to you if I wanted to. But I do want you to know how you're being received here and how people are responding to you and how much they desire to hear from you. So thanks again for taking the time. We really got to do it a whole lot more often anyway.
Yeah, it's a few people that just reached out, said they bought the book too, Beach. I'm going to call you once I get offline. They was asking could they get a signed book too. I'm going to see if I can make that happen for them. Tell people where they can purchase the book at.
Yeah, it's I think it's Walter Beach. WalterBeach.com. I don't. My wife handles that, and I think I got it correct. WalterBeach.com.
Well, I'll figure it out, and I'll post it up in the comments, man. But I'm going to call you afterwards because a specific person wants me to get you to sign the copy, and I'm going to make that happen for him.
Okay.
So there's another part in the film, too, where, I don't know if it was Wooten, maybe. He was talking to King and said he couldn't march with him.
Yeah.
I will set up this economic base for you to operate within, right? And in this American construct, we've been having this conversation a lot for the last month too about us moving into this like fourth economic revolution. Like we're moving into a space and place where there's really no need for people. Like we're moving into the age of AI, So computers are pretty much going to do everything. And when I look at that, and this isn't even just a black conversation, right? This is even when them people was running into the Capitol building and white people was running into the Capitol building. That's about them losing their economic footprint in America. And the 1% is becoming so exceedingly greedy that it's tightening everybody else's belt, right? So in a lot of ways, I make the argument that unified philosophy, that unified thought, even that proper polarity of man, right? Even in standing in that proper polarity as man, your very survival is going to be contingent on you to find that space.
Must.
I believe that to be true, man.
Yeah, I do too. But people are, especially our people, and I say especially our people because I'm indifferent to the other people, in terms of when I start talking about survival and to prosper. When you function like we do in this country, majority of us, and there are a few people that I know are not predisposed to accept and live on the post-colonial and imperial model. If you do your research, I got my book here, and I just got one little. I wanted to read it. What it is, I say, make yourself the object of intense study, and you will find and discover the source. If you do not read and discover, if you do not read and research what the planet and how the planet functioned prior to or pre-slavery and colonialism, you'd be amazed. Speaking to a brother today about religion. Religion is a contemporary concept. Now, when I say contemporary, I don't mean just this week or 4 years ago. I'm talking about centuries ago. On the planet, the human species functioned based on their understanding of nature and the universal principles. But once you introduce a concept that captures you, that tricks you. I told you about my Uncle James. Uncle James used to tell me, he said, boy, he said, they'll hunt you, they'll trick you, or they'll trap you. My mission is to be in opposition to being hunted and being tricked and being trapped. Because he said, once tricked, absolutely trapped. Once they trick you, you are trapped. You know, so that in artificial intelligence is some time that they spent to further be in control of the human species. We don't need you to do anything. We'll make some machines to do this. Now, I'm telling you, I'm 88 years old. 70 years ago, I was in Pontiac General Motors, coming out of high school, working in the plant. And now, when I look at the models, what they're doing in the making cars in Pontiac, Michigan, that's where they made the automobiles at. That plant used to be full of people, man.
Yep.
Today, you go there, you might find 2 cats and some machines.
Man, I was at the Ford plant in Detroit. The Ford plant campus is probably like 3 miles long.
Yeah.
I might have counted 15 employees.
Oh, wow.
Right. So they got machines doing that. And the machines is predicated upon that, upon the value model of commerce.
Money
Listen,
over people.
We can make some more money if we get rid of all these people who have to pay their salaries and their insurance and their medical stuff. We just get a machine in there. You ain't got to pay the machine. You ain't got to worry about him getting sick.
And you think about a company that size, you think about how many people that actually impacts, right? It's not just whoever you laid off, right? It's that person's spouse, that person's children, that person's their whole immediate circle,
the entirety of that community.
Exactly. But you know, it goes back to people like Uncle Wall said. You putting the value in the money over these people, and that's the conversation they were having on Muwai Kills World yesterday. And the brother that was on there was saying, like, man, as we move into this artificial age, he was like, you know, he was holding out faith or hope that, you know, those decision makers at the top of those companies will value people over profits. And I said, man, he got more faith in them people than me, because
historically they've never shown that to be true.
Never.
They operate off a scarcity model. You know what I mean? And there's some value to that, right? We are the sum total of all that comes before me, right? So we got to be honest. You can't get me without the mixture of the Caucasoid energy and African energy, right? And I think that's what makes us God's chosen people. You know what I mean? Because those are the 2 most pervasive energies on this planet. And we harness them in balance in a way that no one else does. We are a different species. No disrespect to Africa, but the Africans they're not built like us. You know what I mean? They follow our lead in regards to like the social consciousness.
We got it different. I love you and I will kill you.
And we got to harness some of that sometimes. To the part in the movie where they showed the Panthers. We ready for revolution and we getting our guns. I think that's part of the natural narrative. I think violence is part of the natural paradigm. I think it is. So when those dudes ran up in the Capitol building, that granted, white life has a different through line in America than black life. That's true.
It is.
Right? We gotta acknowledge that. But they ran up in there because sometimes that becomes the necessity. It becomes the necessity. It has to be done.
Somebody's masculine energy has to win, and it's
power concedes nothing without demand.
2 totally different things. We opened up the show talking about the Lions, right? Like somebody's masculine energy has to win this thing and dominate this area, right? And it's either going to be ours or it's going to be theirs, and that's just what it is. And it's not going to be a peaceful, quiet conversation between those lions. Like, it's going to be to the death. Like, one of y'all got to go. We can't both be here.
You got to concede to Scar or grow a Simba. It just is what it is.
What it's going to be, you know?
Yeah, it is what it is.
Well, you know, they've sold a model of coexistence. Even if you look at it linguistically and you understand the language is puzzles the will. How could I'm just talking about me, and this is and you can use your mind and your imagination. How could I sit in the White House as a black man and have a level of coexistence to a white man who's talking about killing black people? See, that's the sickness or the sadness. And I tried to make that point when I in the presentation when I said man, they send me off to war and put me in a segregated train. They said, Beach, we want you to go fight the enemy, but I'm gonna put you on the back of the train. That stuff is deep, man.
Which makes you question who's the enemy.
So what Ali is saying, man, ain't no Korean or no Viet Cong call me no nigga. Right. They might feel that way.
Right.
So what happens, man, is that if they reach into the deepness of your consciousness, man, they'll have you violating you. You'll violate yourself, predicated upon a trick. Predicated upon a trick.
The illusion is powerful, man. Think about how we acknowledge Gandhi, right? And he just spoke about the book, right? Gandhi's branded as the nonviolent guy, but he was like, this is only because we can't whoop your ass.
Right.
If we had the will and the skill to kill
it. Right. Because we don't. We OTW.
Right.
So when you get caught off into the trick part of the indoctrination and the trick is, and I'm like I said, this is just my belief, and I'm not going to apologize for it. It's predicated upon three aspects of religion. So I don't worship or I don't celebrate any of the imperial religions. That's just me, and I ain't got no problem with people if they want to serve it. That's their business, you know. I'm just talking about me. What is one of the major factors? Fear.
Yes, sir.
An infallible creed. Do you dig that? An infallible creed. Mm-hmm. A creed that doesn't make any mistake. And then the next aspect of it is the post-mortem promise. The post-mortem promise. When you die, this is what's going to happen.
Yes.
when you die, you're either going to heaven or hell.
Mm-hmm.
So your actions is predicated upon that promise.
Absolutely.
So, like most of my study, and I was in an ashram in India. So most of my study, you know, come out of the East, you know.
Yes, sir.
And the East is, man, if you didn't experience it, you don't know what it is. So who have experienced the post-mortem promise? Who died, came back
and told somebody.
That's what it was about. Now I ain't talking about no stories or no myths.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I'm talking about the dude that did it. So if you buy into that, that's where the control comes in. At man, if you don't do this, you gonna go right to hell. I think it was a point that Jim made in the presentation that a lot of people kind of missed too. You know, when I made my protest against Art Modell in terms of reading the book, I wasn't no different. He didn't treat me no different then than he treated me before. Mm-hmm. So the point was, you can get your treatment. That's the hypocrisy. You know, in my original statement, when I talk about hypocrisy, that's the hypocrisy it is, man. That's how deep it gets. I'm gonna share this last aspect to you, man. When I was with the Browns, and I was a defensive cornerback. All right. Now, if you know anything about football, there's a right corner and there's a left corner.
Yes, sir.
And then there's two safeties, the free safety and the strong safety. I'm the right corner. All of the 6 years that I played professional football, and I stood on the right corner, all black athletes that came to the Browns as a defensive cornerback were stacked behind me.
Wasn't gonna be no chance of it being two black corners out there.
If he didn't be, when I look back, I see 6 brothers behind me. Now, ain't none of those brothers gonna make the team unless they beat me. On the other side, on the right corner, behind Bernie, wasn't nobody over there. So they sent a brother home who brought tears to my eyes, and this is why I wanted to address that in terms of my hypocrisy. Brought tears in my eyes. I saw Calvin Lang leaving. I said, Calvin, what's happening? He said, man, they just put me on waivers. I said, put you on waivers? man, I can't understand it, And what they tell you? He said, Walt, they told me I wasn't fast enough. Now let me share this, man. With the Browns, I was a 4.2, 4.3 sprinter for the 40 yards.
Wow.
I was an Olympic champion at Central Michigan University and ran track against Ira Murchison.
That's Deion Sanders' primetime speed.
So I had that kind of speed. 4.2.
Nuts.
Calvin ran 4.4. When the white boy on the team defensively could break 5. But he wasn't fast enough.
Yeah, because there's only one position for him.
Yeah, I knew when you said you had 6 brothers behind you that at least 3 or 4 of them could probably go over there and take that other left corner spot.
It wasn't going to see the light of day over there, man. That's why when we were playing, that's what they were doing. That's what you call stacking. So if you come in here and you want to be a fullback, and that's what we drafted you for, we're going to put you behind Jim Brown. So we know you ain't going to make the team.
You ain't never
it's over with for you. Got the greatest one ever right here.
Might as well go home today.
Right, you go find your job, fam.
So man, we used to laugh at it in training camp, man. They said, man, he said, "Oh, no brother want to be drafted as no fullback. You want to come to the Browns as a fullback and think you're gonna play? No, man. No, but that's the hypocrisy that we put ourselves emotionally, psychologically, so we can withstand that."
Can I compare and contrast that again? Going back to the piece where you're talking about the sacrifice, right? And you saying it's not a sacrifice. They playing the same game, right? So you theoretically you think this is my team, I own it. I'm trying to field the best team possible, right? They like, nah, like I'm. It's not gonna be too black, right? It's gonna be enough white dudes on this team.
Same Chicago Bears quarterback conversation we having right now.
Yeah, and so you say, well, we sacrifice wins for? No, we ain't sacrificing wins. What we ain't gonna have is a bunch of niggas on this team. That's what we ain't gonna have. And so they playing that the same way and viewing that sacrifice as more than worth it or not a sacrifice at all because they true value set is in whiteness. They ain't in winning football games.
We go back to the through line of America. White life has more value. That's the very shaping of the narrative.
Yeah, did I share that with you, my story about the Browns and
No,
Jim?
Sir,
let's hear it.
Go right ahead.
I had an exhibition season. It was good. And we was doing 2 a day. So after the first morning session, I got a call from Eddie Uzinski. He was the defensive linebacker coach, and he was the Turk. The Turk was the term that they used when you got cut. Yeah. So he came in. He said, "Walt, who's getting ready to go to lunch?" He said, "Walt," he said, "Come, the coaches want to see you." So initially, I just thought, well, that's cool, But then that magic word, he said, "And bring your book." See, your playbook is the property of the Cleveland Browns. That ain't your property. That's their property. So when he said "And bring your book." So I said, "Bring my book." He said, "Yeah." So I said, "Okay." So I go in with my book, and they tell me they're not decided that they're not going to go with me. They're going to go with some other guys. So what can I say? They're in my father's store. I said, "Okay."
Right.
So I go back to the dormitory, and I'm in the room packing my stuff. And Jim comes by, and Jim said, "Come, hey Doc, let's go on down to the field. Let's go to practice." I said, "Jim," I said, "they just put me on waivers." He said, "Come on, man." He said, "Quit kidding around." I said, "No, they just put me on waivers, man." He said, "Man, quit kidding around." I said, "Jim, I don't know if your program can handle this." I said, "Jim, you see I'm packing my shit, don't you?" So I'm packing my stuff. He said, "What?" So he said, "Wait here, man, I'll be back." So Jim goes down in about 45 minutes, he come back. And I'm still packing. He said, "Let's go to practice, man." I said, come on, man, what you talking about? I told you what's
I
happening.
just told you I'm out of here.
Yeah, I said, but and you have to really, if you know Jim, you can appreciate it. So Jim take them big hands and grab me by my arms and dragging me down to the field. Now, man, it's the worst feeling I've ever had in my life because I don't know what to do. He's dragging me down to the field. We get down to the football field, practice field, and in the locker room, I go in the locker room, I see the equipment people putting my shoulder pads back into the lockers, my helmet, shoes, and all that stuff back into the locker. And they put that, got the tape with my name on it, Beach, and they put that back up. So I put on my uniform. I really don't know what to do, man. I'm just so out of sync. So I do the calisthenics and do all of the exercises I'm supposed to do. Then when they call the groups together by positions, and they call it, give me my first, give me the first defensive defensive back unit. They said Parrish, and Bernie run out there. And then they said the Fickner, Ross run out there. Benz and Larry Benz run out there. And they say Beach. So, man, I don't know what to do, man. I run out there to take the position. But an hour ago, they told me I wasn't on the team.
Right.
So I said, oh, man. So that was one of the most difficult and psychologically traumatic experience that I had. For that whole year, man, I played the right corner and started. And nobody from management, the coaches, nobody ever said one word to me. So I just played. We won the championship. We were the world champion. What they call the Super Bowl. At that time, they called it the world champ. So we're the world champions, So maybe about 15, 20 years later, we were at an alumni reunion in Cleveland. And just out of curiosity, I asked Jim, Jim, man, it never occurred to me, but I wanted to know, what did you tell them? What did you say? And Jim, in his way, he said, oh, man, he said, I talked to him. I said, man, I really appreciate your friendship. And this is what Jim said to me. He said, Doc, he said, I didn't do it because you were my friend. He said, I did it because you could play. He said, I got a lot of friends that they've sent home. He said, and I give them some money. He said, if it was just about friendship, I'd give you some money and let them send your ass home. So I said, well, okay, but what happened? He said, and this might be to the point that you were making earlier, Toussaint. He said, man, I went in there and I told him. He said, man, you guys want me to play football and do the best I can and give you my all. He said, that's what I told him. He said, and I give you my all. He said, but when it comes to playing football and putting the best team together, you're not giving me your all. He said, because one of the best players we got, y'all sending him home. So you want me to give my all, but you don't want to give your all. He said, and then they said, well, all right. But this was the caveat. He said, Doc, he said, I knew it was about race, but I didn't say that. I didn't mention race. I mentioned giving your best. So Jim's a very bright cat, man. And I've always had the most respect for him. And and a great deal of honor for him. But not just because he did that on my behalf, but just because he's a man of high quality and high integrity.
Another great story, Uncle Walt. Listen, we are just about out of time. Any last remarks from you two before we wrap up?
Nothing other than, man, I appreciate you, Beach. I love you, brother. And I'll reach out to you when I get off air.
Okay, love y'all too. Herb, love you, man.
I love you too, Uncle Walt. I appreciate you. We got to do this at least monthly. Yeah, at least monthly, we got to try to get Uncle Walt on here, and they came up with a dope idea. I think we might have mentioned it before, but getting Uncle Walt on Muwakil's World with Salim, because that would be, I sit at the floor and just watch that all day.
Man, we ain't giving away our jewelry, man.
Yeah, and I want to say one thing. I want to say one thing before I go, man.
Yes, sir.
I don't use the word love lightly, man. When I say I love you, man, you know, so a lot of people say, man, I love you. Now, when I say love, man, that means that I'm prepared, you know.
Yes, sir.
Flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone, blood of my blood, spirit of my spirit. So that's the way I deal with it. I
receive it. I appreciate it. I love you right back. I feel like I just got like baptized or something. Like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I just got like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's just the feeling that it is right now. Listen, Uncle Walt, you enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks so much for hopping. Oh, wait. Happy birthday. Happy belated birthday. You know, we just had a big birthday.
Oh, yeah. I had 88, man. I'm on the planet, man. Hey. And well, you just put me on to what I said about love.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 88 years old. I said, man, you 88 years old. He said, man, and you look good for 88. I said, then I said, look what love has done to me.
That's true.
Beauty, peace, truth, poetry, and all I see. My soul is running free. See, the two of y'all, that's what I'm talking about. Look what love's done to me, to be in a relationship with y'all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We receive it. Uncle Walt, thank you, man. Yo, in lieu of music, right? Uncle Walt, do you mind taking us out with your mantra again? Do you mind reading your mantra again as we close, just like you did at the top of the show?
Oh, yeah. You want me to read that?
Yeah, we'll close out. We'll let you close out with that. That'll be the very last thing said today. If you would close out with that, that would be awesome. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to the show. We appreciate y'all as always. We'll be back right here, same place, same time tomorrow. Y'all make sure y'all get up early and stick with the network throughout the day for all the amazing content. Uncle Walt, thanks again for coming on. Please close us out as only you can.
I said, I am Black in attitude. I'm Black in behavior. I'm Black in belief and thought. I'm African in spirit. I accept and acknowledge the fact of myself being intuitively and have developed the cognitive strength to function as a Black man in America. And as an African Black man, my hypocrisy manifests as silent rage. I must decide what my relationship to racism will be. Only I can say when and where I enter my manhood with quiet, undisputed dignity, without violence or special patronage, asking no quarters and giving none. When I enter and where I enter, I take with me my people.